Well, as one chapter of the book closes, another opens. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 16th round of the 9th season of the Bandit Racing League. Tonight, the opener for the playoffs, and what is sure to be, well, if you ask me, one of the best races we've had in a very long time. A group of very hungry, very talented drivers for the first time in a very long while, having something to fight for in regards to the championship. Hi, everybody. I am, as always, your host and your commentator, and you're really just everything in between. I'm your broadcast producer and the guy who gets these lovely broadcasts set up each and every week. I am Marshall Crocker Jr. Welcome back, and thank you everybody for watching here on the Full Send Racing Network. As you can see there, we do not have Evan Wall next to me in the broadcast booth. Instead, it is the list of drivers there that are running tonight's event with a Skype camera. So we might get some different perspectives from those guys tonight. Maybe we'll head to their cameras and see what they're looking like during the race, and maybe get more of the driver's perspective. But tonight is the opening round of the playoffs here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and I am so excited to get going. This entire season, this regular season, has been really, really amazing. Honestly, I think in terms of this series, I don't know if I've had a really a season of any series I've ever broadcasted that's been this competitive, this tight. And I know we have an obvious name that many will think about when it comes to somebody who may be a little bit more dominant than the rest of the field, and we certainly have that in our series. But we'll talk about him in a little bit, and we'll talk about last week's race at Auto Club, where we picked off the last couple drivers remaining in the fight to make the playoffs. And unfortunately, Peter Murphy was the first guy off that cutoff line, and unfortunately, he will not be making the playoffs tonight. Neither will some other drivers who have had good seasons, like Ashley Mullineaux, Christopher Hamilton. They just didn't run enough races to make it in on points. So we will talk plenty more about it for the rest of the night. I just want to mention very quickly, while I am on camera here, I do have my Bandit Racing League, or my Full Send Racing Network specifically t-shirt here. Again, it's hard to see just with the coloring and the lighting of the room, but I assure you guys it's a very comfortable shirt. It's a lovely design. There's a nice logo on the back there, a little bit bigger. So if you want a shirt like this for any merch for yourself, we'll talk more about it later, but the link is, as always, in the description. If you want some Bandit stuff, that's where to go. But before we go too far into tonight's event, we want to talk about tonight's race sponsor. And tonight it is the Military Appreciation 100 here at New Hampshire, and it's something that has been in the works for a couple weeks. Drivers were given some time to prepare and to put some paint schemes together for the event tonight. And really, the world in general, I think, right now, and some of the events that have transpired this year, the military has had more importance now than it has in quite a long time. Unfortunately, things this year have worked out about as well as everything in the past 2 years, and there were certainly some tragic events that happened that we've discussed in the past in these broadcasts. But without a doubt, the military is one of the most important aspects of any society, but of course ours here in the Western world, and particularly America. I know I'm Canadian, so I offer kind of a different perspective. But when America's military really effectively serves as half of our own, such an important entity, and the people that fight in it, the people that are brave enough to dedicate their lives to something that is inherently terrifying, that you hear of growing up, and inherently seems like such a crazy threat. But some people are willing to do it, to dedicate their lives to a great cause, and really something that is different than any of us will ever experience if you don't know what people go through. And we've talked about it in the past as well. We looked at it a couple weeks ago with Charles Oberg's tribute to the station race. But things like PTSD, the experiences of people that have been through such important events, is really, again, tough to imagine for those of us who haven't experienced them. So we just want to highlight a little bit those of us in the Bandit Racing League. We're actually, I guess, lucky and great to have guys with military experience. And obviously we thank them for their service all the time, but appreciate that they come join us in the series, and for things like this, they offer kind of a different perspective and help give us a little insight into their background. For example, Christopher Ferrara, the guy that not only races in the series but runs our social media, who does all sorts of great stuff on Instagram, which is linked in the description down below, so go check out our Instagram. We're really happy to have him working on everything he's doing. But he did serve 4 years in the military there. As you can see, he was in the 13B Field Artillery. He was a specialist / E4, and some of you will have a little bit more context for military positions, and some of us won't. Again, I am up here in Canada, and I'm not quite as familiar with some of the verbiage, but I know Joshua McQuiggan tonight is actually running a scheme in honor of the Canadian military as well. So both nations are represented there. So there's Chris Farrar. We thank him for his service as well. Daniel Stein in the series driver, the number 87 truck, served 6 years in the military. There you can see all of his information and all of his details. He has gone overseas before, and I know was heavily involved in and in all manners of tasks. And I think that is often the misconception about the military is, it's not just the stereotypical things you picture. It's not as glamorous as the movies a lot of the time. A lot of the time it's very valuable, chores and work that is entirely separate from the front lines, but that work is just as important and just as valuable in our society. So again, we thank Daniel for his service as well. Same with David Lakey. 19 years he served in the American military as a chief warrant officer, which again, I perhaps not the best source of information about particular verbiage or particular skill sets or particular jobs, but I do know that is mighty impressive, and it really shows the dedication he had for all those years. And for each of these guys, you can see it in the way they act, the way they portray themselves. They're very they're very stand-up guys. They have such great characteristics. I know Chris is a really down-to-earth guy, but he's also like great in his work. He's very dedicated to what he does, and I know the values that are taught in the military and throughout your service is stuff that'll stick through you, or stuff that'll stick with you for the rest of your life, I should say. So we thank David Lakey as well, and finally Michael Ramos, the fourth driver in the series, who is former or active military, and in his case, I believe it is still active. Let's pull up the information he had for me. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have time to get a graphic together for him, but yeah, he joined the military in 2010, is still serving to this day. He's a major in the field artillery. He's currently at military college working in military studies, so he's committed in every facet to his life, in every facet of his life to what he does. And he's been in the 101st Airborne and the 3rd Infantry Division, so quite a variety of backgrounds. And I know that is often something that is quite common for the military, is frequently switching between a variety of positions. And he was deployed in Iraq and Syria in 2018 and 2019 to fight ISIS. So very recently, and if you want to talk about recent service and relevant in our modern day, doesn't get much more relevant than that. So and fun fact, actually, he and David Lakey, who we just showed a moment ago, actually did serve together for 4 years in the 101st Division. So that is kind of a fun thing there. The fact that two of our guys, it's a small world. Two of our drivers in our series were working together in the past and have a bond that goes much deeper than racing. So obviously, we thank every single driver there for their service, and really just anybody in general out there. Tonight's Military Appreciation Night, and that goes beyond the walls of our series. That goes to anybody out there who has been active in the military before, who was a military veteran, and has done probably the most important job out there in keeping our country and America and any country you're from, keeping them safe. So we thank them. Tonight's Military Appreciation Night. We'll talk about it going forward, and we'll talk about some of the cool tribute paint schemes we have going on tonight. Many drivers running schemes in honor of the theme. But before we get to that, it is playoff time, and as a result, instead of your usual driver profile, we're going to give you a run-through of every driver in the playoffs for Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League, and maybe give you a couple hints on who you should watch for this season. The bottom seed in this year's playoffs, though certainly not deserving of his skills. He just missed a couple races this season. Connor Sawyer is the 19th seed in Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League playoffs, and while Connor's just had a really stellar season overall when he's been available at the road courses, he's almost second to very few. He's been incredible so far this season. Look at his 5th place position at Mossport. That could come in handy this season at Watkins Glen, the track we'll be going to in just a couple of weeks. After him, it is the 13 truck of Michael Ramos, the 27 truck of Michael Ramos, I should say, a guy that you've probably heard a lot about if you've watched any of our post-race interviews. Both Nick Nickerson and Ricky Hart referenced him as a guy to watch out for this season, and if you can just stay in this series, make enough races in the playoffs to be competitive, I think he's a guy to watch out for at least the round of 8, including his second best position of the season at Texas. That, well, it's going to be very valuable in the second round when we have some tracks that are somewhat similar to that oval. After that, it's Christopher Ferrari is the 17th seed in this year's playoffs in the 13 truck. Again, he is our social media guy, so he's busy on and off track. He's got 3 top 10s this season. You can see an average finish of 15.08, which is fairly competitive compared to most of the midfield in this year's playoffs. His best finish of the season came at Texas, where he scored a 7th, but he has had a couple towards the bottom of the top 10 finishes. And well, if he can just keep some consistent points performances up, he would be definitely a guy I could see making the round of 8. The fan favorite himself, Hunter Henry, there in the 94 truck you see on the top line there, that white and red truck. Well, he's had a very busy season overall, but I think definitely massive improvement from the season he had last year, which was already quite good. His best finish of the season was a 5th at Bristol, his only top 5 of the year. One of 2 top 5s in the season, I should say. He's got 5 top 10s, so he's had a fairly consistent season overall, staying up towards the top of the field. And he wasn't here last week at Auto Club, but he did make it in comfortably on points, and the fan favorite, he's going to have people cheering for him all the way through the playoffs. After that, David Lakey in the 84 truck, one of the best looking paint schemes in the series. His best finish of the season came at Knoxville, where he scored a 9th. one of 2 top 10s on the season. Kind of just a guy that's been consistent, makes it out to every race, kind of the Iron Man of the series, and he's somebody I think to watch out for again in terms of like just building up points, staying in the fight, and as long as he can stay out of adversity, stay out of the wrecks, I think he's got a good shot this year. Eddie Hagge after that in the 97 truck, former co-commentator this season. He subbed in for us in a race earlier this season. Unfortunately, I don't believe he'll be racing with us, or he'll be in here tonight in the broadcast booth, but good for him because he is in the playoffs and thus he's going for a championship. His best finish of the season came with a 4th at Texas, and the 97 has had top of the line pace all season. Could definitely be somebody who could compete for a podium sometime in the playoffs. After that, Tony Hilbrandt's probably the most unlucky guy here in the playoffs, except for one guy we will get to a little bit later. He's got a season best 4th at Mosport, so you know he's going to be good at the road courses. And when we go to Watkins Glen, Tony Hilbrandt's is definitely a guy to look out for. 2 top 5s this season, 4 top 10s, very good average position. He just finds himself in wrecks that are oftentimes not his fault, a little too often. But I'm sure if he can get away from that, and he can just stay consistent, and he can get a good start tonight at New Hampshire, he's a guy to watch out for the round of 8 and maybe even the round of 4. Matt Crockett after that in the 10 truck, season best finish at Michigan in 6th. He's got 5 top 10s, so he's been racking up the good performances in the past. A guy that's really good at conservation, whether tires or fuel, overall all season. He's just been somebody to watch out for, kind of always simmering there in the background. And if we get a race that goes relatively caution-free, he could be somebody to watch out for and a pretty good strategy. After that, Jason Greenwell, the pompous man himself, we dubbed him this season. Unfortunately, he's gone away from that great-looking pompous truck earlier, but still one of the best-looking schemes in the series. He's got a top 5 this season, which is more than can be said for quite a few drivers. He scored a 5th at Texas earlier in the season to go with his 7 top 10s. Greenwell, just a massive step up from last season so far this year, and I think if he can keep doing that, if he can just keep racking up points and stay out of wrecks, I think that's going to be the key for this first round. If he can do that, he can make the round of 8. I've actually got him in my bracket to make it into the second round, and from there, it's just a question of what can he do in the very chaotic group of tracks we have going on in the round of 8. After that, the biggest improved driver this season, most improved for sure, Mark Allen Bibbins, the youngest driver in the playoffs. What a season he's had. 2 second-place finishes this season, I believe. 1 second at Michigan, 1 third at Daytona to start off the year. He's just been great from the off. That 76 truck has been looking quick all season. And he's so disciplined, so patient. He stays out of wrecks. And I think that's what you're going to need. I have faith in Mark Allen Bibbins, and I can't wait to see what he does in his first appearance in the Bandit Racing League playoffs. After that, we're getting to the big guns. Kevin Foster, the 2-time series champion, including a former championship in the trucks. Here we go. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do tonight starting off the playoffs. Somebody that's got 2 second places on the season at Atlanta and Chicagoland. Somebody just like Cody Welch. I don't know how they don't have a win yet this season. Look at his stats. 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s, average finish under 10. The guy is just consistent. He is just racking up the points overall, and it's going to, again, be important in the playoffs, but knowing how impactful wins are in our playoff format, he's going to be a guy that's going to want to get in victory lane as soon as he possibly can. And speaking of which, Cody Welch, you know the storyline. 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s this season. There you see the finish last week at Auto Club. He has come so close so many times. 3 second-place finishes so far on the year, but has yet to make it to the top of the podium. 7.29 average finish. He's somebody to watch, not only for a win, maybe even tonight, where he won last year in the Xfinity cars, but certainly for the overall championship. Into the drivers who have won a race this season. Trey Ellis started off the season with a win at Daytona. He has since missed quite a few races and overall not too competitive in the overall points, but he's a guy that, because he's had some top 10 pace in a couple races, including last week at Auto Club, I am by no means going to count out as potentially being very competitive this season. He's a guy to look for, and as well, 2 top 5s, so we've seen the 4 truck has that top of the line pace. Let's see if he can put it to good use in this year's playoffs. Probably one of the most underrated guys in the series, the 7 truck of Benjamin Lacey, always running that FedEx livery this year. He's somebody that's so darn good, but I think we forget about it to some extent. Remember, he was in the Final 4 last year in Season 8 in the Xfinity cars. See if he can do it again this year in the trucks. Hasn't quite had the week-to-week dominance that he has in the previous season, but still 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, a pretty good average finish. If he can stay on track and he can make every race in this first round, I think he's almost a lock to make it to the round of 8. After that, Action Jackson himself, Brandon Jackson, probably the most, I'd say, volatile entity in these playoffs. He could go as far as the championship. In fact, I would not be surprised if a number of you are out there, if you had to put a bracket together, might consider him for your top pick. But the question is, how consistent can he stay? I know a lot of these tracks don't appeal to his sensibilities, but that second round is full of ovals I think he'll do quite well at. So if he can make it through this first round that maybe doesn't appeal to his skill set, and he can just make it to the round of 8, I think he's got a great shot at the round of 4 and potentially a championship. After that, though, it is Curtis Yancey, his rival from last season. That rivalry has somewhat died off, but the winner earlier this season at Michigan. Curtis Yancey's just showed a new level of patience this year. He's turned over a new leaf, and he is a guy I think we need to consider for the championship. If he can just stay out of wrecks and make it slowly through the rounds, keep patient, I think he's a guy to watch out for sure. Brett Guzik after that finally got a win early this season at Chicagoland. You see the finish there after what was not an easy year for the 04 truck, but since he's racked up points, he's got 5 top 10s, 5 top 5s, 8 top 10s, an average finish of 11.43. He's one of the best out there to do it, and he's pretty good at almost every track, including a dirt track, which we will have in the second round. Getting to the end, the champion 2 seasons ago, you see the finish there from his win at Texas. He's got 2 on the season, one of 2 drivers with multiple race wins. He's got 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, an average finish of 8.62. What a year it's been for Ricky Hart. The question is, can he convert it when it counts? Can he be clutch like he has been in the past? And here in the trucks, I think he's got a pretty darn good shot. So keep an eye on Ricky Hart Jr., definitely one of the championship favorites. But after that, the man himself, goes without saying, needs no introduction, 6 wins on the season. He's a regular season champion. He's great at the road courses. We've got one in this round. You see there 6 wins at all manner of tracks, including last week at Auto Club. He's on a bit of a streak. I believe he's at 3 in a row. And Nick Nickerson, man, it's going to be a challenge to topple him, but I know there is potential to do it. But what a guy as the pinnacle for this series. The bar to set for everybody else who can take down a regular season champion looking to go back-to-back in the Bandit Racing League. What a year it's going to be. What a playoff we're in for. And we are ready to get going for it. We'll show you the bracket one more time in just a moment. But before we get too far, it is time to show you your qualifying results. Qualifying has just come to an end, or it is in the process of coming to an end. So now it is time. Let's get your results here. Presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa from qualifying, and see who will be taking the top spot on the grid in tonight's race at New Hampshire in the Military Appreciation 100. Again, sponsored by Perfect Shine Auto Spa is all of these various graphics for qualifying, as well as the replays, and they are just generally the sponsor here for the playoffs, so thank you to Perfect Shine Auto Spa. But on the pole tonight, starting off his quest for the first win of the season in style, Cody Welch there on the pole in the 85 truck, running a very impressive 30.032 lap time, almost sub 30 seconds. On the outside of him, it is Brett Guzik. Hasn't spawned into the session yet, but the 04 truck, another guy that I think could just rack up points this season, and he's one step of the way there, starting this far up in the grid in what could be a very chaotic race at New Hampshire. On the second row, the regular season champion himself, trying to defend his title, Nick Nickerson, on the inside of row 2, alongside former champion from the season before, Ricky Hart Jr., sitting on the inside of row number 3, Ashley Mullineaux in the 45 truck. She is back. She was not able to make it for last week's race to round off the season at Auto Club. Could have potentially punched her way into the playoffs, but instead, she will have to settle for an entry in tonight's first round of the playoffs. On her outside, Curtis Yancey. Starting in 7th, Tony Hilbrands. Eddie Haggy to his outside. Christopher Ferrara in the 9th spot. Kevin Foster, 2-time champion in the 10th spot. Into the 11s, it is Connor Sawyer. Christopher Hamilton on his outside in 12th. Christopher's been great when he's been here this season. Keep an eye on him. Benjamin Lacey after that. Then we got Benny Hogan. Then I believe it's Joshua McQuiggan, Cale Zook. Then it is Sean Britt alongside Michael Ramos, playoff driver. We got an all-playoff row number 10 with Matt Crockett alongside Jason Greenwell. Peter Murphy eliminated last week from the playoffs alongside Terry Condis. Mark Allen Bivens, I can scroll a little bit forward for you guys just so you can see what we're looking at. There you go. Just got to make sure we're all updated. There we go. Mark Allen Bivens. Then it's Bill Harkins tonight running a special tribute scheme we'll talk about in a moment. Andrew Zook to his outside. Then it's David Lakey, the Canadian Jason Romy, Trey Ellis, a playoff driver, in 28th. Then it's Gary Wright, Daniel Stein, Jackson Knock, James Hartley. And then looking a little ways further down there, it is Steve Orrick in the 25 truck running a new livery tonight in honor of Military Appreciation Night. Brandon Jackson as well has to go to the back of the field as a result of a paint discrepancy. Does not have a green bumper. And Hunter Henry and Steve Orrick. Hunter Henry, a playoff driver, and he rounds out your field tonight. We are ready to go. This is going to be a fun event, and well, the opening round of the playoffs starts right now. The Military Appreciation 100 at New Hampshire. We are green. Down through turn number 1, it is Welch and Guzik side by side. Nobody really getting an inch here off the start. Pretty consistent as we get through turns number 1 and 2. You see on the timing tower there, those P's indicate playoff drivers, and the top 4 is an all playoff lineup. We see Nickerson down to the inside of Hart, still side by side for 2 rows as we head down through 3 and 4. Looking a little ways further back, it is Mullineaux side by side with Yancey trying to battle for that final top 5 spot. Seeing who's moved up a little bit, Christopher Hamilton further back is side by side with Christopher Ferrara, trying to dice his way through the giant field of playoff drivers here. Pretty competitive so far to start. Nobody really making too much room. Somebody's got around in front. We're seeing smoke from somebody. Oh, Hart's around into Hilbrands. Massive wreck early. Foster gets out of it, but Ricky Hart Jr., a playoff driver, started in the 4th spot, and that is not the way he wanted to start off his playoffs this season. Second lap of the race, second time through turns 1 and 2, and he goes around the 64 truck. Let's go to the Full Send Racing Network replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa and see just what went wrong for the 64 truck up ahead. Sorry, just looking back a little ways. There we go. Got the incident here. So Ricky Hart Jr. heading down to turns number 1 and 2. You see Nickerson side by side with Guzik. Just gets tapped by Curtis Yancey. Something happened up ahead, though. The two guys in front of him had already gone around. So let's go back a little bit and just get a better angle on what happened there. Oh, so it started up ahead. It was Nickerson and Guzik, two guys I would not expect to make contact. Nickerson just getting into the back left quarter panel of the 04 truck at Guzik. Honestly surprised. I think that was just a case of Nickerson thought Guzik was going further up the line than he was. Thought he was going to go right to the outside line. He did not, and well, I am properly surprised by that series of events, especially this early in the race with two top guys. You know, usually when we see these early cautions, it's between drivers that are not nearly as pivotal to the championship order. But yeah, Ricky Hart Jr. going down pit road now. You see damage there to the back of that 64 truck. The rear wing kind of curved up, but yeah, early struggles there for Ricky Hart Jr. And that is, again, not what he wants to start off his championship. But he's definitely a guy, whether it be Pocono or Dover next week, a track I know he loves. He's somebody who could win his way into the round of 8. And just a reminder of the playoff format is, in fact, we will put up the playoff bracket heading into tonight's race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let me just get it up for you guys. There we go. Here's the playoff bracket, so you know what to work with. There are all the drivers who have wins, all the drivers who are locked in on points, but none of that matters. Everybody is on an even playing field in terms of points as of tonight. But tonight it starts over proper. So let me get you the schedule here. So for the next 4 races in the first round of the playoffs, every driver in the playoffs is at an even number of points. But by the end of the round, only the top 8. That includes those who win. If you win in the playoffs, you are into the next round, except for the final round, in which case only points matter. So if you win at New Hampshire tonight, you are locked in as one of the drivers in the second round in the top 8. And the remaining spots after those 4, so say we get 4 different winners, 4 drivers will be selected who have the most points aside from the winners. So Ricky Hart, if tonight is going to be a struggle, as we've already seen, I think he's going to leave the damage on that truck. I don't think he's going to bother to come in and repair it this early in the race, which probably a smart move in the long term. But if that is the case, he's definitely going to want to think about the overall championship order, try to get as many points as he can, and if need be, then he's going to have to go for the win at either Dover or most likely Pocono. No offense to Ricky with his chances at Watkins Glen, but we've seen in the past, if Ashley Mullineaux and Nick Nickerson are in the lineup, they are a pretty good bet for the win at a road course. But here we go, coming off of turns 3 and 4. Things are looking a little bit glitchy on my end, so you guys let me know in the background if everything looks good and things are a little bit glitchy. Just let me know what the quality is like in the broadcast, and we'll get things updated if need be. But here we go, second start of the race, first restart. Cody Welch leads the field to green. The 85 truck, a great jump coming down into turn number 1. Nickerson just not able to keep up. Significant damage to the front nose of the number 2 truck. Remember from that contact a moment ago, we'll see just how much that affects him. Second caution of the race already. Didn't even get a chance to get out of turn number 2. Who is involved in that? Seen a couple names popping up, most notably Matt Crockett, a playoff driver in the 10 truck. This is the restart just a moment ago. Just a huge stack up in front of him. Nobody got going there really in that inside line. Greenwell getting into the back of the 10 truck there, you see. He gets clipped by a couple of drivers, including the 25 of Steve Ulrich. Let's go back to the beginning there to see what happened and get a better angle. So who was it that checked up there? Because I saw Michael Ramos never really got going, but it appeared to be somebody in front of him even. Oh, it was Christopher Ferrara, I think I'm seeing, the 13 truck. So let's get a replay on that. Yeah, Ferrara just did not get up to gear at all. Look at everybody on the inside just stacking up. So let's go right back to the beginning there. We're going to go in truck with the 13 of Christopher Ferrara, who, again, a playoff driver there. One of the last spots in last week's Auto Club race went to the 13. So let's go inside. Keep an eye on the rev limiter, the tachometer there on his dash. Let's just see how he upshifts. So I think I believe he's in second gear at the moment. Gets on the gap. No, I'm wondering if he started in third gear. His revs were really, really low there when he was coming up to speed and just did not get going at all. Healthy revs. I think he started in too high of a gear. Just a tiny slip up there, a tiny mistake, and didn't come back to bite him. As you see, that 13 truck was totally fine, but for those guys behind him, well, just like that, the races are already thrown into chaos, and that's kind of the story of this season overall here in the Bandit Racing League. It has been hyper competitive, but it's also been hyper chaotic, and just what a season we've had so far. And it's a shame to see that so many great guys early in the race are getting caught up in wrecks, because really we want this to go clean. We want to prove, that's the purpose of these playoffs. We want to prove who is the best driver in this series, and well, we indeed will see. I'm seeing a couple other people that are saying they're having similar issues with some broadcast quality, so hopefully that goes away in just a moment. Things are looking a little bit smoother right now, so it could just be a variety of programs in the background that are not operating as expected. We're a little bit better right now, so hopefully it remains that way for the rest of the broadcast, though it is still a little bit glitchy, so I'm wondering if it's the track, maybe something about the number of trucks. That's not a problem we've had in the past, so we will keep an eye on it. If it gets too much worse, we may do a temporary reset and see if we can get things back up to speed, but for the time being, the trucks are doubled up and stacked up and ready to go. But for a brief moment here before we go back to green, let's take a moment and do our track preview here for tonight's race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let's go to our graphic here. So New Hampshire Motor Speedway opened in 1990. It is a 1.058 mile track, so just over a mile, and kind of a weird distance means tonight's race is 105.8 miles. Barely banked at all is tonight's race here at New Hampshire. 2 to 7 degrees as you're banking on the edges of the oval, and that is virtually nothing. Means that braking and downshifting are extremely key to the strategy here tonight, and that is a skill set that maybe not possessed by some drivers in the series here that are good at other ovals. It's kind of unique to this track specifically, one of the flatter ones on the schedule. The pace truck off into pit road, but important to mention, last year's winner was Cody Welch, and he leads us to green once again. Cody Welch in the 85. Off he goes here, down to turn number 1 for the third time today in tonight's event. Second off of a caution restart. A little ways further back, it is Nickerson side by side with Guzik. Yancey once again trying to get involved early. And it's Mullineaux behind. Eddie Hagee moving up a couple spots in that 97 truck. Running a new livery tonight. A little ways further back, it's Hogan, Lacey. Further back in the field, I think it's Connor Sawyer who was diving out there. 3 wide momentarily between himself, Bivens, and Ferrara. Now it's somebody else in behind. Trey Ellis in that 4 truck again, trying to prove himself in the playoffs. First winner of the season. He's trying to do it once again. The 4 truck looking pretty good early. Goes to the outside of Brandon Jackson. We'll see if Brandon, who was fighting through the field there after that end of the line penalty he suffered as a result of his rear bumper not being painted green. Well, unfortunately, he is, unfortunately, he's tried to start at the back of the field, but he is weaving his way through for sure. Just got the move done on Trey Ellis. Back up further in the field, it is Cody Welch, still leading at the moment, but the battle for second rages on. Brett Guzik down to the inside, the 04 truck under the 2, and Curtis Yancey might go with him. Good move there by Brett Guzik to get it done there. Perfect balance of the throttle and the brake. Now Curtis Yancey trying to dive underneath with him. I think it's going to be another one of those races we've seen a couple times this season. Ashley Mullineaux in the 45. She is charging through the field. But we've kind of seen at some of these tracks with one very distinct line. If you get out of that groove there, that top line here at New Hampshire, you're just going to get absolutely freight trained. So it's important to try to defend as much as you can and be very tactical about when you make your moves. But now it's Curtis Yancey still on the attack against Nick Nickerson, trying to make his way up into the top 3. Ashley Mullineaux sitting there in the catbird seat, trying to see what spot is going to work. Going to go to the outside for the moment. Now she's right up next to Curtis Yancey, who just barely leaves her enough room. A little ways further back in the field, we're seeing plenty of spots switching hands. We've got a battle here between Trey Ellis and Mark Allen Bibbins, who, I mean, Mark Allen's looked great all season. Really looks like he could adapt to any track. Kind of been a Swiss Army knife, but man, he's running a little bit high there on an exit. You're starting to see it. He's going way higher, about a full lane higher than these guys in the other groove. And it looks like it's working for a moment because he sends it in deeper, but off the corner just does not get the run these guys do. Might lose another spot here to veteran who we just honored earlier tonight, Daniel Stein there in the 87 truck. But he's sticking with him. Mark Allen's still in the conversation, and as far as the playoff drivers are considered, that's all you want to do. Just be up there, be scoring points, and be somewhere near the top 10. Still up front, though, Cody Welch continues to lead here on lap number 14. He's not exactly breaking away, just about a half a second lead over Brett Guzik, but is certainly doing everything he needs to early on in tonight's event to finally get that win. Man, it's been a tough season so far. So, okay, we're having some troubles. Everybody is saying it's pretty glitchy right now. So we're going to do a quick reset. We're just going to fire things up again and see if we can get it fixed. So we're going to go to a brief moment. We got a third caution of the day. Kind of a nice timing here. We'll quickly check on who that is, and then we'll get things reset for everybody out there. It is Bill Harkins. Bill Harkins has gone around the 11 truck, who came very close to the playoffs last week, though he already had claimed that he would not be running in the playoffs, even if he were able to make it, as the series director. He is the guy that puts it all together, the founder of the Bandit Racing League. Just a moment ago, he brought out caution number 3. So we'll dive into that a little bit more later, but for the time being, we're going to go to a technical difficulty screen, and we'll see if I can get this kind of glitchiness we got going figured out. Okay, well, things still a little bit up in the air as to what the issues are and what it is we are trying to fix. We got some things going on in the background, just having some frame rate issues that don't traditionally happen. I've confirmed it's not the internet. I've confirmed it's not the PC. So at that point, we were running out of entities that it could be. But hopefully things are a little bit better now for everybody. And well, since we last left away, don't listen to the graphic there. That is now incorrect. It is actually the fourth caution of the day. You've missed an entire caution since we stepped away for just a moment there. But in the meantime, Tony Hilbrands has dropped towards the back of the field, presumably as a result of one of the cautions. As well, Christopher Ferrara is sitting there in the 30th spot. Jason Greenwell in 31st. Tony Hilbrands in 33rd. So a couple of the heavy hitters there already early on in the event having some struggles. And as you can see, the lettering has come off of the timing tower as a result of having to do a full reset there. So unfortunately, the only way we'll be able to know if a driver is a playoff driver is if they have that green rear bumper on their truck or the green header above their truck. And yeah, just a question: can anybody, now, as of right now, see the stream a little bit better? Is it a little bit less glitchy, a little bit more consistent? Just trying to figure this out. I've been doing broadcasting for a long time, and I've had these issues in the past, but they've never been stuff like internet or anything like that. I'm not appear to be dropping frames. Everything is okay in that respect. So this is a bit of a weird issue, and I want to make sure that I give you guys the best broadcast I can. And if it's a problem I can figure out, then I want to figure it out sooner rather than later. A good suggestion actually in the chat there. Could very well be the server. I haven't had that happen all season, but a large number of trucks, sometimes iRacing towards the end of a season can get a little bit off its game. But yeah, just let me know there in the chat right now if anybody can see it, and then we'll be right back into the swing of things for the next restart, which appears to be... No, it'll be at least next time by. The lights in the pace truck are still on, so we missed a couple laps there. We missed, I believe, 2 cautions, and yeah, a couple drivers further back in the field than we'd usually expect, but we'll get everything reset and set up and make sure we are back to normal. Also, it is not Chicagoland. That would be why the graphics are wrong. It is because the graphics package has completely decided to reset itself. So everything going wrong right now, but that is the beauty of showbiz. You just gotta figure it out and move on there. My camera's not even on either. There is a lot going on here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if I can get it up. We'll get things figured out, I promise. We just need just a moment to figure out what it is that is the principal issue, and then we can go from there. I should be on in just a moment. There we go. Let it refocus. Resize. There we go. I am here at the very minimum. That is the one thing I can guarantee. So Everything is wrong up there up top. We got two different races mixed together, so let's just reset the graphics very quickly here. And again, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time we've had proper issues here on the broadcast in quite a long time. That is aside from, I guess, last week we had some pretty consistent mic issues here the last couple weeks, which was kind of a warning sign there. So just hoping everything gets figured out. Get that all reset. And yeah, in terms of frame rate, is it about as glitchy as it was a moment ago? If you guys could let me know, just so I looks better. Okay, everybody's having a good time. So yeah, it might just be person to person. I saw on my end things are looking pretty glitchy, and that was making it tough to call. So I just wanted to make sure I got the issue at its root and moved on from there. But we should be back. My graphics are up. They are accurate. They are new. Oh, they're pretty new. They're not entirely good to go, but what can you do? We are getting set to go here. We'll work with it. We'll work with it for now. We'll see what we can do, and we are just about to go green momentarily. So there we go. We're good to go. We fought through, and it is time to race. Green flag here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Military Appreciation 100. 26 laps in. Cody Welch leads. Guzik and Mullineaux second, third, and we are off. Much better in the second row there. Nick Nickerson, you see in a battle side by side with Ashley Mullineaux. A familiar sight if you think back to last season at Road America. The first race Nick Nickerson has lost at a road course in his time in the Bandit Racing League, and it was to Ashley Mullineaux. Nick is even having internet issues. There's some sort of plague going on technically here for everybody tonight, but we make it cleanly through the first lap of the green flag. Side by side, though, goes Guzik with Welch. The 04 truck down to the inside. The two guys that all season were great, but just could not seem to get a win. Guzik broke his streak. Can Welch do the same tonight? It is not going to be easy if he has the 04 truck down his inside like he does right now. Welch and Guzik side by side off of turn number 2. Welch might get a little bit better run there on the outside of the lane. He's there to able to carry more speed through the corner. And in the second line, it's Mullineaux and Nickerson still battling it out, with Curtis Yancey rounding off the top 10. See here a little bit closer up on the battle between Mullineaux and Nickerson. Again, Nickerson just locked there on the inside. Mullineaux in that more comfortable outside lane here at New Hampshire. It's just where you're able to carry more speed and somewhat more ideal. So I'd imagine she's just going to try to stay up there as long as she can, conserve tires a little bit, force Nickerson to burn his stuff up. And maybe once he does, Curtis Yancey can jump in and take advantage of the opportunity. But we have a caution coming out on track. That's number 5 or 6 on the day, realistically. Don't listen to the caution number there. It is inaccurate because of that previous reset. But we're seeing a couple drivers' names involved. David Lakey, Christopher Ferrara, Jason Romy. Romy, you see, already back to pit lane. Where's Christopher Ferrara? The 15 truck of Christopher Hamilton is just in pieces here. Let's go back and see what brought out the 6th caution of the day here at New Hampshire. Presented by, it's now gone from the graphic, but presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Here is the replay of the collision. David Lakey there, you see the 84 truck, a playoff driver by the green bumper. Okay, the 08 truck and the 15 getting together. You just see the damage on the front end of that 08. Let's go back a little ways and see if we can identify the root cause of that whole wreck. So Connor Zook, I'm seeing as well, was involved. Maybe he's the guy we're looking for. So here's the 55 truck heading down into turn number 1. So, whoa, Kevin Foster, what a dive he took into the back bumper, the 55, then the 55 into the 08. Everybody checks up. Hart involved again. Ricky Hart, the guy that's had some terrible luck of his own this season. Think back to Knoxville. Happening again, the 64 truck. He's got a smoking number 15 in front of him. That back bumper is looking worse for wear. Just a brutal night tonight for some of these playoff guys. Let's get one more replay here from a wider angle just to see everybody involved. But yeah, Kevin Foster came from way back. Like there, he was a full car length behind the 55 on entry. Maybe the 55 went a little bit lower than he was expecting, but whatever it was, you just see guys piling in there after the fact. So Romy involved, Hamilton involved. Hamilton not a playoff driver, but he has been great so far this season. Had a couple of top 5s in his own right. Has arguably better stats than some guys in the playoffs. Just didn't run enough races this season to become eligible to compete for the championship. So not the way he wanted to start off tonight's event here at New Hampshire. Remember, he was recruited by Nick Nickerson, another guy who, well, this isn't exactly his bread and butter either. He actually talked about it on Instagram. Again, I'll plug the Instagram, so if you're new to the series and you haven't checked out our Instagram yet, be sure to go check it out. It is Bandit Racing League on Instagram. The link is down there in the description. But yeah, he posted on Instagram today that this was not one of his preferred tracks. It wasn't one of those ones that he's particularly looking forwards to in the play. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but yeah, Watkins Glen is going to be one of his best. I don't know about Dover next week. That's more of a Ricky Hart Jr. and Brandon Jackson's specialty track from what I've heard. But end of the round at Pocono, another questionable one, but Watkins Glen is the obvious one. Nick is just lights out at the road courses, and pretty sure the only person that can really give him a good run for his money, unless things go a little bit crazy, is Miss Ashley Mullineaux. You see here leading tonight's event now in the 45 truck after that last caution. Both Cody Welch and Brett Guzik did come down pit road, so that'll be Mullineaux, Haggy, Hogan, Condis, Zook, your top 5. Michael Ramos, the playoff driver, in 6th. Then it's Andrew Zook in the 07. Tony Hilbrands, Christopher Ferrara, and Jackson Knock rounding off your top 10. Okay, so everybody is good, it would seem. So there we go. Yeah, I'm thinking it was just the server then. The only thing that was really going wrong was iRacing. So it's a shame to see. Obviously, I'd like to go through the entire thing without much issue. But what's important is we're back to working condition. We're all good to go, and we're ready for the next restart when it happens in just a moment. Mullineaux alongside Haggy, Hogan alongside Condis. Kind of a fun top 5 group there. Some guys we don't talk a ton about, and Andrew Zook there in the 7th spot in the 07 truck, the third of the Zook triad, and he's been good so far. I mean, at Auto Club, he was definitely, well, perhaps not in his element. I think he got involved in a wreck early on that kind of put him behind the 8 ball, but the week before he was particularly quick. So we've seen some praise from the 07 truck, and he's not in the playoffs, of course, because he's only a very recent addition to the series, but he's a guy I'm definitely watching out for. So we will see what we can do about giving him his fair share of attention, giving him his time in the spotlight, especially if he's able to make some passes here, maybe make his way into the top 5, get by a couple of these playoff guys. But here we go. So this is, I believe, the 6th restart of the day here. It'll be Ashley Mullineaux and Eddie Haggy alongside one another on the front row. Ashley Mullineaux has yet to pit, though I did hear from Matt Crockett it's about a 40 to 45 lap pit cycle here at New Hampshire in terms of fuel. So with a lot of cautions, this could become a one-stop race, and maybe that is what the 45 is banking on. But here we go. The pace truck onto pit road. Mullineaux, the control truck. Green flag. Great jump. The 45 truck is off, and we are green here at New Hampshire on lap number 33. Comfortable jump there from Mullineaux. Once again, the caution almost immediately comes out. We go a full green flag lap there. Just as I'm coming back in, we go yellow once again. Hunter Henry is the name I'm seeing. Not involved in the wreck, just leaving pit road at the time of the incident. But Tony Hilbrand stands out as a name there in the 92 truck. When it comes to bad luck, I'm telling you, it does not get much worse than Tony Hilbrand's. The guy's just found himself involved in so much this season, and when he finishes a race, man, he is consistently in that top 5, top 10 vicinity. He might be looking for a win later this round at Pocono if he's going for the title. But yeah, the 07 is just got in the quarter panel there, kind of accordion squeezed about 3 guys into a corner that just could not fit 3 trucks. Go to a replay there. Coming into turn number 3, you see there's the purple number 92 of Hilbrand's, the 07 on the top line. We had this last year. We had 14 cautions in our Season 8 race here at New Hampshire in the Xfinity cars, and I was certainly hoping it was going to be a little bit cleaner than that, but it's just inherently the style of racing we see here at New Hampshire. You know, it's a multi-groove racetrack. There's a lot of different lines. That top line, pretty good place to be, generally speaking. Obviously, you know, you're conserving less tires. You're conserving your tires more, so you use up less rubber. It's a very flat track, meaning that you're having to break into the corners. So, you know, running on the bottom line isn't necessarily quite as advantageous as it is at a track with heavy banking, where the track is just trying to siphon you down to that bottom line. So it's a better, generally speaking, strategy to be on the top line most of the race, but that inside line's a good passing zone, and if you can pressure the person on the outside up closer to the wall, kind of take their line away on the exit of the corner, you do have a chance to make a pass from the bottom. So it's tough. It's a multi-groove racetrack, and it's really just a case of miscommunication most of the time. You know, when somebody thinks that there's a spot there that isn't, and they have a momentary lapse in judgment, even when 2 people try to drive side by side there in the exit to a corner. And, of course, they're both aiming for the same general spot, but maybe one person thinks they can get an inch where they can't, and another person the other way. So, just like that, I believe that is caution number 7 on the day, but plenty of racing left to go, and maybe let's go to the broadcast booth, or we'll go to the interview in truck. What am I trying to say? It has been a frazzled kind of race, or at least good technically, so we'll figure it out. But let's go in truck. We'll pull somebody to the broadcast booth, get a driver's perspective. Maybe while we have a moment, let's talk to your current race leader, Miss Ashley Mullineaux. Hey, Ashley, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do, Marshall. How you doing?
We are doing, well, we were doing a little rough there for a moment. We had some technical issues, but we're fixed now. We're all good, and just in time to see you leading the race. Ashley, it's great to have you back. It's awesome to see you, and that 45 truck is looking as good as ever. But right now, you're back up front, 36 laps in. You're the race leader. Most of the other main competitors there from qualifying way back in the field. And I heard you talk about earlier in the race, you kind of learned from the past. You learned from that race at Phoenix. Is the strategy tonight to just run up front and let the cautions work themselves out?
Absolutely. If we get a run of more than 5 or 6 laps at yellow, I'm pitting. But until then, I'm not pitting. Or if I start getting passed by people like Nick.
Right. Yeah, those guys are going to be hard charging. Nick already up to the 8th spot, so expect to see him in your rearview mirror sooner rather than later. But overall, just very quickly, what's the strategy at New Hampshire? What do you think you're doing differently than everybody else? I know this is a track you quite enjoy.
I don't really know because I have 4th place speed at best today. I don't know. It's too hard to judge the long run, and I've always been like a long run driver here, and we're not really looking like we're going to have any of those. Plus, I've never driven the truck here before, and the setup's fairly tight, so there's a few things against me here. But overall, I don't know. It'll either work out or I'll wreck. One of the two.
Well, we hope it's not the latter there. We wish you the best of luck. Go head off there on the restart and see what you can do. But yeah, those guys behind you, they'll be charging through the field quick.
Oh, I'm here for a fun time, not a long time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. There we go. That was Ashley Mullineaux, driver of the number 45 truck. She is getting doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go. And the pace truck is off, so the 45 going to lead the field to green here momentarily. Eddie Hagen, the 97 on the inside line, is a playoff driver. You know he's going to try to keep up with her. But for the time being, green flag, the 45 truck well and clear of everybody in behind. Just kind of worried there for a moment. We might have got her out of her game there, talking to her on the final lap before the restart, but clearly not. She is off in the 45 truck. Looking quick early. I don't know about 4th place speed. She's proven quick on these restarts, and as we've seen in the past, that may be the most valuable asset of the entire race. Further back in the field, though, the 2 truck of Nick Nickerson still with damage to that rear right quarter panel. You can even see it on the truck. It is just looking janky. Significant damage to the front nose, but he has already passed Cale Zook, up 2 spots in this restart. The 2 truck of Nick Nickerson is our series regular season champion and defending champion for a reason. He is watching a battle here between Ramos and Condis. Terry Condis in the 32 truck running the American scheme on the outside line. Michael Ramos in the Army tribute livery that he always runs here, sitting in the 4th spot, just ahead of Nick Nickerson, who, even with that damage, again, you know is going to be charging through. So if you're Ashley Mullineaux up front, you're trying to win this race, you're going to get as far away as you can and just hope you can carry the field as late into the stint as you can. Try to be on as fresh tires as possible if you're trying to go to the end on one stop. But here we go, Nick Nickerson right to the back bumper of the 27. Ramos doing whatever he can to hold that top line, carry more speed out of the corner, but Nick is looking comfortable there in that bottom line as he has all race. Usually Nick is somebody who typically likes to run the top line there, conserve a little bit more, but so far tonight, he seems to be switching the strategy up a little bit. Now to the inside, comfortably in front of the 27, going to slide in front, and just like that, yet another spot for the very damaged number 2 truck. I do not know how he does it. Gary Wright has gone around further back in the field. The 6 truck running another tribute scheme tonight has gone around. Caution number 8. New Hampshire, man. It's just one of those races, isn't it? One of those racetracks. The Pflugerville, Texas native is looking the wrong way off of turn number 3, and let's see what happened to him. Let's see what brought out caution number 8. Presented once again by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. Here is the 6 truck right in front of Cody Welch there. The driver who pitted just a moment ago. You see he clears him pretty comfortably. Jason Greenwell in the 83 truck is the one who got into him. The 83 and the 6 getting together. Again, it is New Hampshire, so important to take a moment just to analyze the situation, make sure we're not putting the blame on somebody who doesn't deserve it. Here's Greenwell. The 6 truck was well off the pace there, just on old tires, had some damage. You can just see how far off he was. Jason Greenwell came into the corner with a lot of speed, but not any more speed than anybody anywhere around him. We'll just watch it again here from his perspective. Maybe we'll go in the onboard view from the cockpit of the number 83. But you see here, just kind of comes out of nowhere, and yeah, carried a little bit too much speed in. I mean, he was coming in a little bit hot for the top line, but he would have made the corner comfortably had the 6 not been there. So there you go. Yet another one. Yet another playoff driver in a little bit of trouble. We'll have to do kind of a through the field in just a moment of playoff drivers. See where guys are in the field, how many quick repairs they've used, try to get a sense of who is really in contention for great points tonight and who's going to want to refocus their efforts a little bit later in the round to some of those other tracks later in the schedule. But there is the 6 of Gary Wright. And here is your leader of Ashley Mullineaux. So we're going to take a moment very quickly. We're going to go through the entire field. We're going to scope out some paint schemes because, again, tonight is Military Appreciation Night here on the Full Set Racing Network broadcast. And, well, actually our tribute to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which we are still doing, which is still why on all the broadcast graphics, the logos will be in pink. But, yeah, unfortunately, we've lost our original graphics here. So let me just take a quick moment. Maybe we'll try to put the camo timing tower back up. But the first one I want to mention is Bill Harkins, our very own series coordinator, the founder of the Bandit Racing League, and he is running a really cool paint scheme tonight. More than just the usual, more than just traditional sponsor, put a flag on the truck. He somehow, I don't know who actually put this together. I don't know if it was Evan or who, but that is a tank. The 11 truck is designed entirely like a tank. You can see that there as he goes through 1 and 2 trying to warm those tires up. But you can see it actually best on the front nose. So we'll go to the rear cam. But there you see the gun barrel there. You see all the designs. You see the hatch there on the front left side of the hood. What a darn cool scheme this is. Also the 11 truck, or the 11 numbering on the side. I can't actually see it, but I was told by Bill Harkins before the race that it was designed in the same way that they put numbers on tanks in terms of positioning and font. So can't see it trying to find. Oh, you see it there towards the front? No, that's something else. I'm actually not too sure. That's just the sponsor on the truck. So yeah, very cool scheme there from Bill Harkins nonetheless. I'll try to figure it out as I go. You see a couple spots back, Steve Ulrich, the U.S. Navy truck there running the U.S. Navy colors in the blue and yellow there. Great looking scheme. And the logo there on the front, another good one there from Steve Ulrich. Thinking about a couple other drivers who would have run a scheme tonight. I believe Christopher Ferrara is still running his scheme that he ran for breast cancer awareness a couple weeks ago and honoring the National Guard for military appreciation. So there we go. The 13 truck now getting back on to the lead lap, I believe, or at least coming back up to speed there after some earlier wrecks. You see the damage to the rear right end of the back bumper there, so he'll have to work his way back through the field, but the 13 truck is at least back in the picture. Otherwise, other than that, Daniel Stein there running the is that a tribute scheme? Can't quite tell. Might be. If you guys might have more context for these logos than I do, again, coming from Canada, kind of a different perspective, but there's the truck I was talking about before, the 29 honoring the Canadian military, so somewhat of a different perspective, but still on brand and still on theme. And as a Canadian myself, props to Joshua McQuiggan for representing us up north. But here we go. Green flag for the 9th time today. The 45 of Mullineaux once again, almost halfway through the race, still has yet to pit. The one-stop strategy going just according to plan. And she is off. Eddie Haggy. Holy cow, what a send. But before we can get too far, the caution comes out again. Zook involved. That's Andrew Zook, David Lakey, Jackson Knock involved for the first time in tonight's event. Matt Crockett, Benny Hogan, a number of drivers off the pace. It's going to be one of those races, folks. Everybody is competitive. It's the playoffs. It's the time to get aggressive. Unfortunately, the balance between aggression and safety can sometimes be a tough one to ride. So let's go back here to the moment of caution and see what brought out your 9th of the day. Here's the restart here. Trey Ellis is the guy we're going to be looking at. That 4 truck in the red, white, and blue gets turned off the front nose of Yancey. That just starts a massive pile up. Ulrich is into it. The 32 of Condis, I think, snuck by. Zook took some damage. Connor Zook stopped just in time to avoid him. The 75 there you see going around the outside. And actually, let's take a moment for the 75 because James R. Hartley making his return to the series, but he is running a special tribute scheme tonight as well. So get a good look at that there. Unfortunately, that U.S. Air Force number 75 is damaged as a result of that last wreck, but we'll get a different perspective. I want to know what happened there. I mean, there was a minor checkup, but Yancey came with a lot of speed, and this is what I was kind of worried about for Curtis Yancey. He's such a quick driver in terms of pure flat-out raw talent. Got to be probably top 10 in the series, and that's a significant compliment here in this series. But yeah, just kind of a miscommunication between the two drivers. It was clear that the 4 truck of Ellis didn't quite get up to speed as soon as maybe Yancey was expecting. The smoke pouring out of the back end of number 51, and it's one of those days, folks. It's one of those kinds of races, and the 00 truck of Jackson Knock on pit road taking service. And as we just talked about a moment ago with Ashley Mullineaux, she learned at Phoenix earlier this season when, because of consistent cautions always coming out, she wasn't really able to make her strategy work. She fought from 2 laps down back to the lead lap, and then just ran out of green flag laps because of all the cautions. And tonight, I know she said before the race she was trying to rethink her strategy and maybe focus a little bit more on getting up front early, staying out as long as she could, going for the one-stop strategy, and then just hoping she's the one there on that final lap when we're getting like our 15th caution of the day if we get there. She's hoping she's the one at the front of the field in that situation. So I think it's a good plan. I think it's a not a fun strategy per se. It relies on the race going quite chaotically, and I think we can all agree we'd rather this thing go green till the end. But I think right now she's doing everything she needs to, and that's more than can be said for a couple other guys tonight who have had relatively unfortunate nights so far, including some playoff drivers like Curtis Yancey, who now finds himself in the 32nd spot as a result of that last incident. Still on pit road there, but now just exiting off is the number 51. Let's take another quick moment here while we have a moment under the caution. The lights on the pace truck still on. To talk to another driver. Let's bring another driver in the booth and get another perspective from in the truck. Maybe Christopher Ferraro. Let's bring one of our. Well, no, he's had a tough night so far. We'll give Chris a break. We'll go to somebody with a fresh truck, and why not? The man himself, Mr. Nick Nickerson. Let's see if we can pull him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Nick, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going pretty well, Nick. I'm getting a kind of a familiar feeling to a couple races we've had in previous seasons tonight. It has been a relatively chaotic race so far here at New Hampshire. The lights of the pace truck are off, so I'll just ask you quickly, if you're thinking tonight's going to be another one of those races, lots of cautions, how does the game plan change in your mind tonight?
It's going to be caution all the way to the end. I can almost guarantee it. This is just too difficult of a track for all of us hotheads to be running on. Even I was making mistakes there from this little bump that's in 1 and 2 on the low line, and it's just really hard to pass. Yeah, it's just going to be a disaster, I think, but we'll see. About to go green.
Yeah, sorry, we'll let you go, but wish you the best of luck there, Nick, and find your way through as best you can.
I appreciate it, man. Take care.
So here we go. There are the words from Nick Nickerson. Powerful words tonight, and yeah, New Hampshire, one of the most fun tracks on the calendar, but it is not easy on the best of days. The pace truck off onto pit road. We are now halfway through this time by. The 45 truck, once again, a good jump, but Eddie Hagee is picking up on these restarts. Green flag here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Military Appreciation 100 presented by Full Send Racing Network. Side by side go Hagee and Nickerson through 1 and 2. Joshua McQuiggan in the 29, not too far behind. And it's Brandon Jackson sitting up there in the 5th spot. Kilslook behind him. So some big names in the top 10, and as well as a couple drivers that aren't even in the playoffs. So going to be a good battle here for the next couple laps. Everybody kind of getting into a single file line. I think there's a bit of an agreement that we're going to try to keep it green for the next couple laps. Connor Sawyer here, though, who does have some rear end damage, but appears to still be pretty quick. Down to the inside of Christopher Hamilton, who was involved in a wreck earlier, but has since recovered. At this point, several drivers here in the top 10 who had earlier wrecks, but there goes Daniel Stein there in that tribute number 87 entry up to the top line. Off of turn number 3, or sorry, turn number 2, gets into the 15. Can the 15 save it? He does! Hamilton does not go around, does lose a spot to playoff driver Connor Sawyer, but stays on track. Impressive hands there from the 15 of Christopher Hamilton. That could have very well been caution 10 on the day. But no, we go green, and we have now done a full lap here. So making progress here at New Hampshire is the entire series. And again, just such a competitive racetrack. The most competitive day of the season, day 1 of the playoffs, and does not surprise me in the slightest. Checking in, though, on a guy that I'd imagine probably was not relying on this particular style of race when he made his original pit call to go in early in the race. Cody Welch, tonight's pole sitter. He pitted early on in the event, and in the end, I think that might come back to bite him the way we're seeing things go so far. He is mired in the field down in the 12th spot, and caution number 11 at this point. Again, don't rely on that graphic because we had the reset earlier. It is David Leahy, Bill Harkins, Jason Romey. Let's see if we can find one of those three. There is the 11 of Bill Harkins, that special tribute livery tonight to Military Appreciation, that tank livery, and it has seen better days. Bill Harkins there going by pit road, and who else involved in that wreck? Again, Jason Romey we're seeing in the 08 truck. He has just had a tough time staying out of harm's way tonight so far, and David Leahy is well involved. So let's go back to where this all started. Bill Harkins went off track. Whoa! That was a harsh angle? Okay, what happened there? See the 11 truck bouncing through the inside grass there, going through. Oh, that would have been a pretty scary angle had he not got that load up there, if there were trucks going through 3 and 4 at the time. So this is the kind of the catalyst of the whole thing. So there is the 84 of David Leahy, a playoff driver on the inside line. Peter Murphy there in behind. I don't know what to call that. Peter Murphy kind of just got down the inside line, seemed to not really commit to the top or the bottom line, unless my depth perception is playing tricks on me. Let's go to the chase camera here on the 38 truck. See what he was looking at coming off of turn number 2. So there on the inside is Leahy. There on the outside is Harkins. Harkins came up a little bit, but I don't know. That's a pretty slim margin to be trying to fit a truck into. Terry Condis, did you see him ride the barrier there? Holy cow, the Folds of Honor truck there, the 32 truck honoring, once again, I would assume the American military there in the patriotic scheme, gets put up on the wall. I have never seen that before. iRacing always finds new ways to amaze me with its collision system, and there is yet another example. So the 32 with Terry Condis not getting away scot-free. Same with Bill Harkins, and same with the other two drivers involved. I believe David Lakey got out somewhat safe, but no, you can see the damage that was already on that 84 truck, but it is getting worse before it gets better. That's kind of the story of this whole thing tonight. It has been an action-packed race, but at the same time, it has been full of cautions. But again, I urge you guys to stick with us. We've seen this happen in the past in these series, and sometimes the earlier races the earlier laps, the earlier stints of these races can be kind of getting the jitters out, getting settled into the line, realizing that patience is important, and realizing how to be patient, and realizing the way the track is starting to evolve. So, yeah, I think that perhaps a pretty good estimation from Chris Close' perspective there in the chat, but everybody has different opinions there, and yeah, sometimes just the high-speed racing, quick decisions you make in an instant here, especially in a high-intensity race like the first race of the playoffs, can cause a wreck pretty quick. So we're just going to take a brief moment here and go around maybe with, let's look on. We'll go to Brandon Jackson's Skype camera. He's a guy we often check in with in the series, so we'll go to his Skype, we'll pull him up and ride around with him for a couple laps, and we'll be back in just a moment here after a quick break for your 12th restart of the day here at New Hampshire for the Military Appreciation 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the opening round of the Bandit Racing League playoffs. Brandon Jackson sporting a lovely, almost a Sith robes looking uniform there. It's an interesting racing attire to be sure, but, well, Brandon has interesting methods, but he's an extremely talented guy, and he is on the second row. So see what Action Jackson does on this restart, but green flag. Mullineaux, once again, her 12th restart of the day or something absurd like that. She has led quite a few of them, still has yet to pit, but that strategy is working out for her so far. The 45 truck and the 2 leading through turns number 1 and 2. The 2 of Nick Nickerson still with considerable damage. Mullineaux not involved in a wreck so far this race. Nickerson has been, and Jackson sliding in that third spot. So now's the question. I think Mullineaux was hinting at the fact that Nickerson might be quicker than her tonight. Might be one of those 3 drivers she said had more flat out pace, but he is not in a very good situation in terms of his truck. But side by side, we go down the front stretch. Nickerson trying to fight back with everything he's got, gets to the inside, and your regular season champion doing what he does best, trying to handle a presumably very tough to handle number 2 truck there with considerable suspension damage there on the back end. At very minimum to the chassis of that truck. Here comes Brandon Jackson. Action Jackson trying to get involved. Sends it to the inside. Gets Mullineaux and might get the 2 truck as well. In one fell swoop, gets 2 trucks in one corner. That's why he's Action Jackson. That's why I picked him to go to the final round. Great move, but Nickerson fighting back. Down into turn 1. This is the racing we want to see. Mullineaux on the top line still involved here in this battle. This is what we are looking for. Christopher Hamilton back in the equation too. Joshua McQuiggan there in 5th. But it is this battle for the lead we want to watch. Jackson alongside Nickerson down to turn number 3. We saw last time by Jackson go down below. Now will Nickerson be the one to get the move done on the bottom? No, for the time being, and we are still dead even, and I believe the 99 will get a better run off the corner. He does. Going to get a little bit of ground there as Brandon Jackson. But again, until he clears the 2 truck of Nick Nickerson, this is all for naught. So this battle continuing on. Now a little bit more ground by the 2 there on the inside line. Making up a little bit of room. They're still side by side off of 2. This is the battle we've been waiting for here. 40 to go here at New Hampshire. Mullineaux and Hamilton waiting in the wings. An extremely talented top 4 group here. If all 4 of these drivers had made the entire season, these would be very fair picks for the entire top 4. And as well, Connor Sawyer here, a playoff driver doing everything he needs to right now, sitting there in 5th. But we're still side by side. This has been a great battle for these last couple laps. The 2 and the 99 still side by side. The 2 tapping the 99 just a tad, but they both stay clear of each other, and more importantly, the outside wall. We're also side by side with Mullineaux and Hamilton. This is the battle we've been waiting for. And again, this multi-line racing here at New Hampshire, it lets guys on the top line carry more speed, but it also means the inside is tactical. And if you can just jam on the brakes but keep the truck steady through the corner, you can make passes from the inside. But for the time being, Brandon Jackson back to the lead, wins the battle against Nick Nickerson. And again, it goes without saying, because at this point he says it every week and he continues to have great performances. But Brandon Jackson was talking about before the race, oh, this isn't one I'm looking forward to. Not a huge fan of New Hampshire. This won't go well. And he is leading from Ashley Mullineaux, who considers this one of her best tracks, and Nick Nickerson, the regular season champion with 6 wins. If that doesn't tell you the importance of practice and self-confidence, I don't know what will. Jackson, Nickerson, Hamilton, Mullineaux, Sawyer, your top 5. And speaking of Connor Sawyer, he and playoff contender Cody Welch trying to weave their way back through the field. And I think Cody Welch probably the guy we want to watch for, because he was tonight's pole sitter. He had plenty of pace in practice in the Flushing, Michigan native, trying to get his first win of the season. He's got, well, certainly a couple of trucks there in front of him, but race leader Brandon Jackson only a 2nd and 2/10 up the road. There through turns number 3 and 4, you see getting, not necessarily on the brakes, you'd probably tap them on entry, but he is just lifting off the throttle as Cody Welch. I think partially necessary because of how packed up everything is in front of him. I think Cody, if he could just run on his own, didn't have to worry about the trucks in front of him, might have enough pace to just slide it into the corner and make up some ground on these guys ahead. But for the time being, he doesn't have that liberty. And yellow flag out again. Trey Ellis, Ferrara involved. More playoff adversaries, and more importantly, more playoff adversity from some of these guys running the green bumpers. It has been a tough night for the playoff drivers. Trey Ellis and Christopher Ferrara, the 2 principal drivers in what is the 12th wreck of the night here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Going to the full send replay presented by Perfect Shine Auto Spots. Ferrara and Hilbrand side by side down the front stretch and just gets turned. Just gets a little bit squiggly. Could not seem to settle the truck down. We know he has damage. That 13 truck was already looking like a demolition derby truck there for a couple laps before that point. And yeah, you see coming off of turn number 4, he was just so wiggly. We're gonna go to a perspective from the back of the truck so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, you see here the Evan Wall Media plug there, evanwallmedia.com. Shout out to Evan, who's watching the broadcast tonight. Thank you for, as always, for all the graphics you provide and for being the series' usual co-commentator. But yeah, the 13 truck just could not get it settled down off the corner. I don't entirely put that on either driver, either himself or Hilbrand's. Of course, Hilbrand's did kind of come up a little bit. No, that was just, yeah, Ferrari just couldn't get the truck settled down. And again, I don't blame him because the steering was all out of whack. It's just been tough, man. You know, Evan and I always say it, but cautions breed cautions. But more importantly, race off pit road, possibly the final one of the day. Remember, 40 to 45 lap pit cycle on fuel here at New Hampshire. You can make it to the end. Guys pulling into their box as we speak. Benjamin Lacey, playoff contender, will become the provisional race leader provided he doesn't pit on the next lap. But who will win the race off pit road? Somebody in the background coming past the box. Nickerson wins the battle off pit road. Jackson, Mullineaux, Hamilton, Welch beats Sawyer. He'll gain a spot. Guzik, Hart, Foster, I think, was in the mix there. There is your order. But most importantly of anybody in that list, Nick Nickerson making up time in the pits. Something we've seen in the past has often gone the other way. Really the only major weakness of the 2 truck is some pit road troubles he's had in the past. On track, he's virtually impossible to beat. We've seen even here tonight running a very damaged number 2 truck that has now been fixed with a quick repair. Well, he hasn't skipped a beat there, no matter how damaged that truck gets. So Nickerson is back, took a quick repair, and is at the head of the line of trucks who have pitted for the final time today. Remember, Lacey, Zook, we'll go through the field. Lacey here, Kel Zook, Eddie Haggy, Andrew Zook, Terry Condis, and Benny Hogan all need to come in for one more pit stop. To my knowledge, they cannot make it to the end on fuel. And Benjamin Lacey there, as well as Eddie Haggy, both guys who are in the playoff lineup here, both sporting those green trucks. And yeah, I actually don't dislike this too much. Let's check the pit strategy here. We'll see the last time these guys came down pit road. They're on the bottom right corner. You see it. We were a little bit too far back there, so we'll jump up a ways. There we go, up to the front of the field. So Lacey, yeah, 47 lap cycle. I was gonna say the last time he came down pit road was actually on lap 47. Benjamin Lacey might be good to the end here, depending on how many cautions we get. I think we've had I think 4 since that pit stop, maybe 3. So actually, genuine possibility that Benjamin Lacey is good to the end on fuel. Actually, as well, on lap 53, Zook, Haggy, Andrew Zook pitted, Terry Condis as well, Benny Hogan. So these guys at the front of the field can make it to the end on fuel. Now, tires are a question, but that does mean that these drivers here at the front of this other pack, Nickerson, Jackson, Hamilton, Welch, Mullineaux, I don't know, where did Ashley Mullineaux back to 26? She's got damage as well. I don't know what happened to Ashley Mullineaux, but we've seen this before. Again, like at Phoenix, runs really well at the beginning, and then something just goes wrong for her that takes her out of the equation. Still on the lead lap to my knowledge, but damage to the 45 truck, and just not seeing anything on my telemetry that says she was involved in anything. So, man, tonight's race has been chaotic here at New Hampshire. It hasn't been the most polished by any means, but I'm just so fascinated by this finish. We've actually seen this with Benjamin Lacey before. As the lights of the pace truck are off, so we're getting ready to watch and see what he can do as the leader of this next restart. But yeah, we've seen this with Benjamin Lacey in the past here, where he just happens to be at the end, towards the end of a race on strategy. It happened at Atlanta. It happened last season at his home race at California at Auto Club in Season 8. So Benjamin Lacey back to the front, can make it to the end on fuel. Let's see what he can do versus the new tires drivers. But green flag here for the 13th time tonight at New Hampshire. Benjamin Lacey, playoff contender, down to turn number 1 with a massive jump over the 2 Zooks of Kale and Andrew in the 45 and the 07. Haggy down to the inside here, the 97 peeking underneath. Another playoff driver. He wants to go for the win if he can make it to the end. But further back in the field, we're going to have to watch out for these guys on fresh tires, including Brandon Jackson, who's to the outside of Nick Nickerson. Welch up the middle. Look at the 85 truck soaring in behind. You see the Eagle on the front end of that patriotic number 85 truck. We are 4 wide here off of turn number 4. Still 4 wide. Jackson runs into the right side of Zook's truck, or the left side, I should say, gets away scot-free, and does get the move done on Nick Nickerson for the time being, but we're still 3 wide effectively. So now it's Lacey, Cale Zook, Eddie Haggy, and then chaos in behind. Hamilton's trying to weave his way through. He gets by Terry Condis. Brett Guzik as well in the 04. All these guys on fresh tires from the beginning of the race who were quick in qualifying, trying to battle their way back through. And this is the kind of racing that is fun to watch. The 04 truck gets loose off the corner. McQuiggan, I think, gave him a bit of a tap. See on the outside there, Condis still battling. Here's Nickerson down to the inside of Haggy. Nickerson trying to work his way into the top 3. Now does. He'll go up to the 3rd spot. Kind of boxing in Jackson is Eddie Haggy. Welch to the inside there. Side by side they go off at turn number 2. This is getting exciting. Up front, Benjamin Lacey starting to scoot away a little bit. He's got about a 6/10 lead there, back to Cale Zook, who has had an incredibly quick season in his own right. If he hadn't missed a couple races, he'd be a contender for the playoffs. But now he's got the hard-charging number 2 of Nick Nickerson, who's got a fresh truck, finally has handling that works. And you got to think that battle is going to be, unless the 44 truck can pull out some speed he didn't have in qualifying, this battle might be brief. But the 44, for the time being, still going to remain in the top 2. Now it goes down to the top 3. Nickerson on the inside. He'll get the move done to turn number 3. But this is another battle we got to watch. Haggy side by side with Hamilton. Guzik and Jackson forming up a second line behind them. Haggy right to the top line there on the outside. Doesn't work very well. The 99's going to slide up in front of him. So Eddie Haggy pitted later than these guys that are fighting through him right now. And that is very evident here, especially at a track like New Hampshire. Tire wear is so important, especially because you do so much braking here lap after lap. And as you get older and older tires, your tires start to lose traction. They just have a tougher and tougher time braking at the urgency you'd expect. Yellow flag comes out, I should say. Sean Britt has gone around just as Cody Welch made the pass for 3rd. So Nickerson and Welch, last season's top 2 in the championship. They are going to be, well, not side by side, but pretty darn close on the next restart. But Sean Britt in the 98 truck has had a good season so far. Actually running a new livery tonight. Once again, can't quite tell if that's a tribute livery, but I would imagine it probably is for Military Appreciation Night. Hopefully somebody out there can recognize what livery he is sporting. I just saw the request there in the chat to show the fastest laps of the race so far. We'll show those in just a moment, but for the time being, we're going to go to the full send racing replay. Here's the 98 of Sean Britt. This is turn number 1. There's Hunter Henry, Mark Allen Bibbins. Matt Crockett on the top line was off the pace, as well as Andrew Zook. So something surely happened right there before we saw Britt go around. So we'll back up just a moment. So Matt Crockett here on the top line in turn number 1. Again, something happened up in front of him, so Andrew Zook looked to be the first truck off the pace. There is the 07. He got into the outside wall here, I think with a little bit of help maybe from Hogan. No, okay, here's where it started. Okay, so coming through turn number 1. It's Andrew Zook here in the 07 truck on the top line. To his inside is Benny Hogan. Underneath him is Greenwell. That's a big move there from Jason Greenwell. That is quite the aggressive send there. Down, trying to send it 3 wide. Again, it wasn't a perfect 3 wide. They were kind of all offset. But, yikes. You see that going under... like, it was close, but I think this late in the run, it just didn't have the traction to Jason Greenwell to keep it, on the bottom side on the yellow line there, to not slide up into the 2 guys up top. Then it was Greenwell into Hogan, Hogan into Britt, and just like that, the 98 truck out of the top 20, and I believe currently on pit road, or exiting pit road as we speak. Going to put the fastest laps for each driver so far in this race up on the timing tower. Then we're going to take another quick break for just a moment before our next restart. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, as we always say. Just because last week was Fan Appreciation Week doesn't mean that we can't thank you all for watching once again. And especially thank you for putting up with the technical difficulties earlier and for the, well, somewhat more roughshod presentation whenever we have a single commentator booth. But yeah, I like to think we make our way through it. And I certainly prefer having guys like Evan or Eddie Haggy up here in the booth with me, but we can make do, and it just means I get to focus on you guys a little bit more, and I'm checking your messages, trying to address stuff you guys are talking about. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. Sean Brate, you can see back out on track, is taking a quick repair, so he'll be good to go in the next restart. But the more important battle to watch is going to be Benjamin Lacey versus Nick Nickerson versus Cody Welch, your top 3 playoff contenders here, sitting in the top 3 spots here at New Hampshire. In just a moment, we'll be back, but for the time being, we'll maybe ride on board with Benjamin Lacey for just a moment. And you see on the left side there the fastest lap of the race for each driver in tonight's event. And with 24 laps to go in tonight's event, we are back here for the Military Appreciation 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Lacey and Nickerson going to be your front row this next time by. Welch and Cale Zook on the second. Christopher Hamilton and Brandon Jackson, freshest tires of anybody in the rest of the top 10 there, sitting in 5th and 6th. Then it's Guzik and McQuiggan, Kevin Foster and Eddie Haggy rounding off the top 10. The 97 truck of Haggy having an impressive race so far, especially on fairly old rubber, but you can just tell he's going to be falling back through the field unless we get another caution and if he comes down for a fresh set of tires. But for the time being, Lacey, Nickerson, Welch, Zook, it's all to play for here at New Hampshire. 24 to go, 23 this next time by, and Benjamin Lacey takes the green flag here, gets a pretty good jump over Nickerson. No more tire spin. We are good to go. Green flag down through turn number 1. Welch and Nickerson. Look at the pace on the 2 truck. What a late braking maneuver that was from Nickerson. Trying the move there on Lacey on the exit of 2. Doesn't get it to work for the time being, but definitely in the conversation there for the first time through 3 and 4 in this restart. He is right on the back bumper there. I know he's not going to try to move him. Nickerson is just not that kind of driver. But look at how loose the 7 of Lacey is. There it goes, the 2 truck of Nickerson down to the inside of the line. Going to get the move done in just a moment. Your championship leader so far, your regular season champion with 6 wins, looking for number 7, gets by Benjamin Lacey and heads off down the lane, off towards the sunset, as Cody Welch tries to chase here in behind the next driver on new tires. Further back, it's Brandon Jackson down the inside of Cale Zook. Remember, he is a playoff driver, regardless of not having a green bumper, which I'm sure he will next week. Trying to chase down these guys up front. I know it's not his particular track, not his favorite circuit by any means, but you know he's going to fight and try to earn as many playoff points as he can early here. Christopher Hamilton and Cale Zook sitting there as kind of a wall in the 5th and 6th spots, trying to try to block off the guys in behind, trying to work their way through, fighting for playoff points. Brett Guzik and Kevin Foster included there, who've had a good night. And Ricky Hart, we can't let this guy go under the radar. Remember how unfortunate his race was early, how much damage he had to that 64 truck for the first about 55 laps of the race. He has since recovered and is now to the inside of Daniel Stein there tonight. Again, thank you, Daniel Stein, for your service, but Hart to the inside. If he gets this move done in turn 1, we'll be back into the top 10. What a comeback drive for the former champion. Back up front, though, it is Nickerson, pretty well clear of Cody Welch, who has made the move on Benjamin Lacey. So now it is Brandon Jackson's turn, though. He's got Hamilton, who is inside the line. So Hamilton and Jackson side by side through turn number 3. Lacey up front, kind of blocking them off in the middle. Hamilton got the better run on entry, but Jackson should get the better run off the corner. He's also going to have the slipstream there on the 7 truck. Down towards turn number 1. Can Hamilton get the move done? Go for his second podium of the season. Is making his way through, though. Lacey continuing to keep a fairly impressive pace for somebody with 10 laps older tires, which is significant here tonight at New Hampshire, and he is fighting his way through. But still, Jackson and Hamilton, somebody's gone around further back. Who was that? Cale Zook, the 44 truck, dropping spots. There he is, off the line, getting it wound up and getting it spun around. Back on track goes the 44. Gets it going, no caution. What happened to Cale Zook here? Let's see if we can get it for just a moment when he went off track there and see what happened. Quickly going to go to the full center racing replay, but we got to keep an eye on that battle between Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson, which is going to form up in just a moment. Just got loose off of turn number 2, turned by Brett Guzik, and that was about all it was. Those older tires there are going to start losing grip, and that should serve as a warning sign to some of these guys here on that alternate strategy that pitted earlier than these guys racing for the lead. It's an effective strategy to get yourself up front early in the race, but you're going to be on basically ice skates here by the end of the event. I think Benjamin Lacey is going to be learning that sooner rather than later. He's lost a spot to Jackson. Now Hamilton trying to go with him. There he goes down the inside of the line. Lacey going to lose another spot. Still in the top 5. Pretty well clear. Kevin Foster a couple of, many car lengths back. But now well out of the top 3. And now we just wait. 17 laps to go. These two battles, the ones you want to watch, are going to be Nickerson versus Welch and Jackson versus Hamilton. And if I am Nick Nickerson, I don't know what you guys at home, if there is one guy I don't want to see behind me if I'm looking for the win, it is the pole sitter, the guy who has been so hungry for a win this season, Mr. Cody Welch. We watch him as he starts to track down the 2 truck. And already in turns number 1 and 2, you can see the ground he makes up. Is today finally the day Cody Welch gets it done? Stay tuned. We'll see in just a moment as he continues to try to track down Nickerson. But caution comes out, and that'll change everything. Doing a little bit of the heavy lifting there for Welch is that caution. But Steve Ulrich has gone around further back in the field. The 25 truck, the U.S. Navy entry, already on pit road. Let's go to your full center racing replay and see what brought out lucky caution number 13. Off of turn number 4 here. So Steve Britt, who just had that wreck a moment ago. What is with these front stretch wrecks today? I think the other one was already unusual enough. I think it was Hillbrands, and I'm forgetting who that was with. But just these little miscommunications. It's kind of uncharacteristic, honestly. I mean, we've kind of shied away from races like this in the last couple of weeks, and yeah, that was just somebody not paying attention there. I really don't know why we're seeing this. I mean, early on in the race it made sense because we had quite a few trucks with noticeable damage to their steering. You could just tell that the drivers were having a tough time keeping the truck straight. But at this point, I don't think that's the issue anymore. Fake cement. This is getting interesting. Cody Welch down pit road may have just gotten faked out by Nick Nickerson. Honestly, kind of uncharacteristic. You don't see your defending champion make moves like that too often. But he faked out Cody Welch, it would seem, unless the 85 really committing to that final pit stop strategy. He'll be on the freshest rubber of anybody. And if we get a green-white checkered, maybe not a bad plan. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. He's going to come out, I think, in 15th position. No, 16th as Hunter Henry does stay out. So I'll leave it up to you guys in the chat. And I think this is about the point in the broadcast where we'd ask, who is your pick? For those of you watching at home, from what you've seen so far, Nickerson has been quick overall. He's never somebody you can count out. But Brandon Jackson has shown a surprising amount of pace for what he was expecting in tonight's event. Christopher Hamilton's in the conversation. Kevin Foster, who we haven't talked about nearly enough. Nick's teammate in the 8 truck for GFR Racing. Ricky Hart with this amazing comeback drive. He's made it this far. Who's to say he can't go for win number 3? And Connor Sawyer, playoff driver. He's got a lot to fight for, sitting in the next spot. After that, Foster and Hart, I think, they just faking it out there. Maybe thought about coming down pit road. But now's where all the shenanigans start happening. Now's where we start seeing the funky moves. Guys trying to fake each other out and earn spots the easy way. Still damage to that 45 truck at Ashley Mullineaux, but I wouldn't count her out either. So now's the point in the broadcast where I leave it up to you guys. Everybody watching at home, first of all, thank you again for watching. But from your perspective, who's the pick for the win tonight? Actually, speaking of which, an important thing to mention, Trey Ellis. Unfortunately, not for the fans anymore, but for the winning driver in the event, if they are a first-time race winner, it's not just first time this season, but first time ever, they will be rewarded with a $25 prize, courtesy of Trey Ellis. So maybe a Connor Sawyer, maybe a Christopher Hamilton. There's a couple of guys in contention for that title tonight, so we could see that $25 being up for grabs tonight. But yeah, who is your pick for the win tonight, everybody at home? And let us know. And I think really, like I said, quite a few drivers in play, including Cody Welch, who officially falls back to 16th. But he's on the freshest tires of anybody. We've seen him try this strategy in the past, and I'm just worried for him because we've seen in the past it just not being able to work. You know, late in the race he makes up all this ground, but either we get a late caution and he just runs out of time, or he doesn't have enough green flag laps and he finds himself in the top 5, maybe even second, where he finished 3 times this year, but just isn't able to make it back to the race lead. So I don't know. I just it's got to be one of these days, doesn't it? I mean, Cody Welch has been. I don't even think this is objective. Objectively, arguably the second best driver in the series this year. You could argue Ricky Hart could definitely be in contention for that spot, but just from start to finish this year, he's been incredible. He's got 9 top 5s, which is absurd. I believe might actually be tied with Nick Nickerson for the most in the series, but does not have that win yet. And once again, he's going to have to fight through the field to do it. But here we go. You see the trucks doubled up and stacked up. It's Nickerson alongside Brandon Jackson, Kevin Foster, and Christopher Hamilton on row 2. Sawyer, Hart, Mullineaux, and McQuiggan. Who will it be? It's going to be 12 laps to go this time by 11 when we take the green. The pace truck takes the left-hander onto pit road. The Military Appreciation 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, opening round of the playoffs, is back to green. Nickerson, Jackson, Foster your top 3. Christopher Hamilton, Ricky Hart, and Connor Sawyer side by side with somebody. That is Ricky Hart on the inside line. The 3 truck is Sawyer, looking quick to start off the playoffs. Side by side go Mullineaux and McQuiggan there on that next line back. Further back, Peter Murphy jumping on a line there. 3 wide momentarily. Lacey going around a couple guys. Might even get Hunter Henry as well. Benjamin Lacey trying to battle his way back after taking new tires after leading for about 10 laps there earlier in the stint. But back up front, it is Nickerson, it is Jackson, Foster and Hamilton, and then nobody particularly close after that. Sawyer and Hart battling it out side by side for the final spot in the top 5. A great haul of points can be had by either driver who takes that spot away. And Mullineaux and McQuiggan trying to fight their way through and behind. Actually, Joshua McQuiggan honestly looking quick enough right now that he could potentially get the move done on Mullineaux if she's not able to get by this battle in front of her. So it is all to play for. 10 laps to go here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This could be over quick. Nickerson to the line. Now it's 9 to go. Running out of time here. Curtis Yancey, I thought I saw had gone around, but no, Cale Zook, I should say, crashed at some point. Yet another wreck. Yeah, he's way off the pace. So Cale Zook not having the night it looked like he might have earlier in tonight's race when he was looking so quick. But side by side go Hamilton and Foster. This is the battle for the final podium spot. Foster with so many podiums this season, you know he needs the points for the playoffs. Hamilton does not, but just wants to prove himself in the series. You know, he's going to battle like nothing is out of the ordinary for him. And in behind, Ricky Hart has won that battle with Connor Sawyer, meaning now it is Ashley Mullineaux's turn to take a shot at the number 3. 8 laps to go here. Nickerson still leads from Jackson, and then it's a decent ways back to Hamilton, about a full second back of Brandon Jackson. So that battle for the lead is going to come down to a very close fight, I'd imagine. But I don't even know what to say. I don't think it should be possible, but Cody Welch is already up 9 spots here in the last 5 laps. Cody Welch, hard charging through the field. We're just going to go on the back bumper of Welch because he's about to get a move done on Sawyer here to turn number 1. Welch is flying right now. There you see Ricky Hart getting a little bit loose. Almost gets tagged by Sawyer. You almost saw that quarter panel come into contact with the front nose of the 3 truck. But Welch, just look at the ground he's making there. Further back, side by side go McQuiggan and Ramos. Michael Ramos has quietly been having a great night for himself. Another playoff driver in the top 10. But Cody Welch doing it again. Gets the move on Ricky Hart Jr. 6 laps to go this time by. Does he have enough time to make it to the front? Up front, indeed. It is smooth sailing for Nick Nickerson, the Phoenix, Arizona native, looking for 7 on the season, trying to lock himself into the round of 8 nice and early here. Not have to worry about these next couple weeks. He can just focus on having some fun at his favorite track of the playoffs, I'd imagine, Watkins Glen. But Cody Welch there, another spot on Foster. At this point, if he gets up to the back of a driver, it is just a foregone conclusion he's going to get the move done. But can he make it to Nick Nickerson in time? Cody Welch, a storyline we've seen so many times this season. I feel like every time late in a race we have an entertaining storyline, it's Cody Welch trying to go for the win. And that is the case again tonight. Side by side, inside of Hamilton. The 85 is flying. Now we're going to go to Brandon Jackson. Just look at the back bumper from his perspective. You see in the distance there, the 85 charging through. We're going to be 4 to go this next time by. That's about 2 minutes if we go green to the finish. Can in 2 minutes. Welch run a second and a half faster than these two race leaders. I think he can get Jackson. I don't know if he can get Nickerson. But right now, nobody's getting Nickerson. Jackson's quick, but he is just not at the level of the two truck right now. A little ways further back in the field as well, trying to look at some battles for position that are going to matter for the playoffs. Matt Crockett's doing well for himself. He's in 17th. Brett Kuzik down to the inside of a 3 wide once again. We're starting to see plenty of those now. Mullineaux on the high side. Kuzik below the yellow line. What an aggressive move there. Gets the slide job done. It's not going to have the run off the corner. That's going to go to Hart. But he does get it done. Brett Kuzik, great piece of driving there for him. Now it's 3 to go. Back up to the front. Jackson far enough ahead of Cody Welch here at the moment, about 7/10. Welch still trying to track him down, but in a moment he's going to run out of time. 2 laps to go. Welch, if anything, needs a caution. He needs a green-white checkered attempt. Lap traffic up front may play a part in this. Who is that? Is that Curtis Yancey, I think, is that driver off the pace a lap down. Nickerson down to the inside of him trying to get by. It is Curtis Yancey, so 2 to go for the 2 truck, trying to get 7th win of the season. Jackson going with him here. Welch now within 4/10 of Jackson, but again, I just think he's going to run out of time. I think he's going to come close, but darn it, he is so close, man. Cody Welch, there is Yancey actually throwing off Brandon Jackson. Maybe that rivalry going to get a little bit heated again, but for the time being, Yancey slides out of the way. Oh, here's the move. Welch down to the inside. Gonna slide into him a little bit, make a little bit of contact. Coming to the white flag, side by side off of 4. Welch battling for his life here. There's second position, white flag. 1 more to go for Nickerson. He is well clear now. 7/10 as a result of that battle in behind. Welch gets the move done. Can Jackson go for 1 more lunge through 3 and 4? Maybe even right now. Can for the time being. Brett Kuzik is charging as well. He's up to 4th. He got by Yancey. But here we go. Final time through 3 and 4. Does Jackson have anything left in the tank? Down to the inside. Might try it. No, Welch will hold him off. But at the front of the field, he's starting off the playoffs the way he started it off last season. Nick Nickerson, 7th of the season at New Hampshire. The regular season champ does it again. And what do you say? Before the race, it seemed like everything was stacked against him. Ashley Mullineaux was running. She loves this track. Brandon Jackson was surprisingly quick in practice for his standards. Cody Welch was the fastest of anybody. Brett Kuzik was up there. And still, win number 7. He is in the round of 8. Your defending champion will wait just a little bit longer before he can even think about going out of the playoffs. Wow. Again, ladies, wow. Cody Welch, just like, what a piece of driving again. Like, what do you say? What do you say at this point? It's Nickerson is always looking quick, but Cody Welch here, objectively, I'm just going to say it, had more pace there overall. He had the quicker line tonight. He had the quicker approach. You could tell he had mastered his braking points. But that's the Bandit Racing League for you. It's not always the quickest driver that's going to win every week, and we see it again, man. I feel so unbelievably bad for Cody Welch. Here comes Nickerson. I think he's gonna do the burnout right in front of him. Probably accidental, but I'm sure that's just more salt in the wind for Cody Welch. And again, another second. I can't even put this into words. You know, Nickerson, Welch, Jackson, your top 3 here at New Hampshire, and 3 guys that I think most people I think could have well agreed on would at least make the round of 8. Let alone the round of 4, which is a pretty fair chance for all 3 of those guys. But race winner, what do you say? Nick Nickerson doing burnouts on the finish line. Teammate Kevin Foster coming up to see him. And now we are ready for your first interview of the race. As you know, if you've been here these last couple weeks, or really last couple months at this point, we go straight into your winner's interview post-race. So here we go. Nick Nickerson. Let's get him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Nick, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, and I gotta say, for all that you've done this season, win number 7 on the year. This is the first time we've talked to you twice in a race in quite a long time. We talked to you there mid-broadcast, and yeah, you could just tell you had that opinion that this was going to be a chaotic race, and I think you were absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head, and you still find a way there at the end to make your way through. Fought from the back of the pack there through those guys on older tires, and you made your way to the end. What's it like here battling with older rubber, and how worried were you knowing Cody Welch here was not only hard charging but was on a fresh set of tires?
Yeah, man. I guess I have to eat my words a little bit. It wasn't. I thought it was gonna go yellow flag the entire race. We actually got a couple pretty decent runs there. Man, I don't know how it happens, but I just end up lucking out where I have pretty decent tires and I'm in the front, and with a handful of laps to go. And from there, I was trying to stay in front of everybody, but also kind of trying to maintain my tires. But when it came to that last yellow and I saw Cody going for tires, and then he came out, I think on my board I saw him like on 12th place or something like that. I was like, oh, dude, there's no way he's gonna catch me. I've got this. And then like come on, maybe 5 laps to go, I see he's like in 4th place. I'm like, oh crap, dude. And I'm just like, every time I cross the start, or he crosses the start finish line, I'm looking at like I'm losing at like 2/10 every time we go around the track. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold him off. And I got lucky, I guess. And he was hard charging. I feel bad that he finished in the second yet again, but I think we all had kind of our hardship. First off, I have to apologize to Brett. I kind of ran up into him in the beginning on accident. There's this ridiculous bump on the low side of the track going into one, and I hit that, and my wheel just like crossed both ways, and I just couldn't get her stopped. But it looks like he did pretty good. He finished 4th place, so I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, not at all. Both of you guys had great races overall. Yeah, we right off the bat, I was thinking that's particularly uncharacteristic of both these guys. Seeing you guys being the first ones to cause a wreck was bizarre to be sure. But yeah, I kind of assumed something had to be kind of off with the racing line for that to be the case. But yeah, it was just one of those nights, wasn't it, Nick? There, 13 cautions, not a ton of green flag laps, but the ones that you had, you made count there. You did have to fight through the center of the pack there to even make your way up towards the front of the field. And I'm having trouble figuring out what it is personally, because I've watched this season. We had some great races at Michigan. We had some entirely caution-free affairs. From your perspective, trying to guess before a race, is it going to be a chaotic race like this? Is it going to be green to the end? How should I strategize? What sort of tracks do you think it is that are particularly tough to go green to the end at?
Well, it's just it's just these short tracks, man. In iRacing, there's just not a lot of room to race, and when you have all these restarts, these double file restarts, and you go into turn 1. Everybody just wants to gain in position, and it just can't work like that. It's almost like only one guy within a group of 5 guys can make it past, and then it's the next guy's turn. But nobody in this field wants to do that. We just want to get to the front. We don't want to race, and it's just chaotic. And when we come to these tracks like this track, man, it's a wide track in the turns, but there's only like a lane and a half of actual usable fast driving lane, and 3 cars are trying to get to that line. That's kind of what it is. It sucks. Maybe one day we'll get like that PJ1 kind of thing going on, and it'll make things better. But until then, man, it's just these short tracks they're rough to drive on.
Yeah, I think that's got to be it. Yeah, and I know that we don't really have a break. We're right back to Dover next week, so we'll do it all again. Hope it goes a little bit better there.
Yeah.
Some stronger banking, which I think will help somewhat, but at the same time, it's the Monster Mile. It chews cars up and spits them out. So I'm hopeful for next week. But then we go to Watkins, we go to Pocono, we got some longer tracks. So I'm hopeful for the next couple weeks. But there you go, Nick. You are now in the air. We'll see if we can get an angle there. And I don't know who that was, but always.
That was my teammate Kevin.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Always some shenanigans going on. He had a good race for himself as well. But you get through the regular season. You win 5 races after punching yourself into the playoffs. But now they mean something again. You've locked yourself in the round of 8. And what is the approach as a driver in a 4-race round in which you've already locked yourself into the next one? When you go to Watkins, is there any mindset of let's try to disrupt the other drivers? Are you going to try to take some wins away? Try to make sure that the championship is settled on points? You think maybe you can get some less how do I put it? Less commonly thought about drivers into the round of 8. You think that's a valid strategy, or what's the plan?
Yeah, in this round, all I'm worried about is putting stickers on my car. Our truck, I guess. I got a lot of space over there, even with now 8 stickers, including my Rogue Energy Triple Crown sticker. But That's all I care about in this round. And then maybe when we start getting to, yeah, I'll actually say, I mean, not to keep dragging this interview on, but there was a point in this race where I fully decided like I was going to finish second if it came down to it, just so I can get a good finish and get out of this race good. Because if I get out of here, Dover, it's a fast track. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we're seeing here, although a lot of people probably be tagging the wall coming out of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And road course, we all kind of probably know how that's going to turn out, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to jinx myself.
Appreciate that.
And then Pocono, man, I love Pocono. It kind of drives like a road course, how you go into some of those corners. So, I'm just trying to click off the wins. And then maybe when we get into the round 2 and 4, I'll start thinking about more points and just getting myself to the championship rounds.
Yeah, sounds like a fair plan. Sounds like the mature mindset of a former champion, which, hey, you are. You won last season. So, Nick, you're back. At a certain point, it goes from, oh, it's Nick again, to this is just gosh darn impressive. And we're witnessing something special, seeing guys like Cody, guys like Ashley giving it their all, and still somehow it's the 2-track we're talking to first in the broadcast booth. So best of luck going forward, Nick, but also congratulations, man. I will never understand how you do it. You are truly the pinnacle. You're the guy we're all trying to chase, and I think our series needs that. So you know what to do now. It's your time. You've done plenty of them, so I hope you prepare these things in advance. But sponsors, shoutouts, now's your time, man.
Yeah, man. First off, got to thank Big Red Propane for getting sponsoring GFR, or Kevin and I's team, man. It's truly a blessing, and got to thank Perfect Shine Auto Spa and TechNet for being associates of the team as well. Man, I got to thank Bill and Matt, all they do in this league, and everybody that participates. I mean, even when they're kind of terrible shows, kind of like this race, they're still a blast, especially when you win, I guess. But I don't know how some of the other guys feel. And man, I got to thank you and Evan. I know Evan's not here now, but I got to thank you guys for the broadcast, man. You did such an awesome job. Look forward to watching it tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, these solo broadcasts. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Sorry, one more thing is got to thank all of our military personnel and the veterans who served our country. And this race was kind of for them. We have a lot of cool patriotic paint schemes, and I just hope that people that are watching enjoyed it.
Yeah, tonight's broadcast, just behind the scenes, there was some sort of server issue. I think you were blinking in and out too. I don't know if you had it as well, but specifically iRacing was tough to work with. So the beginning of the broadcast was pretty glitchy, but we got through it, and by the end it was all fine. So we fought through it. But yes, that was a very large focus at the beginning there, and it was great to give some shout outs to some of our own Bandit military guys. I actually had no idea until this week how many veterans we had in the series, but some of them did pretty well as well. The Michael Ramos who you've shouted out in the past year had a good night for himself. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing. God, sorry, they're talking iRacing. I don't know how to turn it off, but yeah, man. I guess it pretty much wraps it up there, right?
Sounds
sorry,
good.
They're talking in iRacing. I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
So.
No worries, man. Go do what you do. Go get ready for Dover. If you're anything like Brandon, you'll say it's not up your alley like New Hampshire theoretically wasn't tonight, and you'll go win it. So,
dude, surprise to me, man. I had no idea how that happened again. I mean, I don't know how I end up at the ends with fresh tires and in the front. I don't get it.
I got to talk to the racing gods. But for now, congratulations, Nick. 7th of the season. I'm sure we'll see you very soon. Best of luck going forward, and just congratulations on the round of 8.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.
See ya. There you go. Your first interview of the night with a guy we've talked to many a time, Mr. Nick Nickerson. 7th win of the season. He made a great point there. It's just finding yourself with fresh tires at the end on a strategy that doesn't, give up track position. That's really all it is. And he did it again. He was sitting up there in 8th, far higher than Cody Welch was when he took his last set of tires. And just like that, he is the winner yet again. So, yeah, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, overall for the quality of the race overall and our earlier issues with iRacing. We got them figured out, but tonight was just one of those tracks. It's competitive, and I know as a driver it's very stressful, which is often a fun feeling. But it was particularly tough to stay green at, and these races where we get a lot of cautions can be tough to watch for sure. So I appreciate all of you guys for sticking with us. Hopefully the great finish was worth it there. And now it is time for your second interview of the night. The one you'll probably want to watch, and the one that you almost want to look away from like a car crash, because I feel so bad for Cody Welch. second again. Let's get him in the booth. Hey, Cody, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Cody, man, I just... What is left to say? What a drive. What a race. You gave us nothing but endless content to work with there. Just walk us through that last pit stop. What's going through your head? What was the strategy call there to go for tires there late in the race and just charging through the field? Did you think you had a shot there at the win?
Yeah, I thought I did. I was thinking we might have, one more caution, which would have gave me a shot to get a restart with those guys. But the last 5 or 6 laps before that last caution, Nick was pulling from me. I used up all my tires trying to get back to the lead, or at least get back to the front, and I wasn't getting anything on him. So that caution came out, and I'm like, well, I could either settle for second here and just ride it out, or I could take a gamble, go for tires, and try to come back and beat him, because I wasn't going to beat him on the tires I had. So I hate to finish second again. What is this, the 3rd time in a row to this guy?
Yeah.
He's just unbelievable. But, just starting the playoffs. I'm in good shape. I'm happy I came back second after the race I had. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. This should not be a sad interview by any means. I mean, again, I see this as you rattle off another podium, and you remain, even maybe more so than Nick, who's had some tough races this season, possibly the most consistent guy in the series. So, for the rest of the round, thinking about going forward, because tonight's race at New Hampshire, I mean, describes itself. You worked your way through. I think you were quickest of anybody, in my personal opinion. We saw it in qualifying, we saw it in practice, and then they're charging at the end. I don't think any other driver, Nick included, could have made the moves you did there. So I think you've proven your pace overall, but next week we go to Dover, then we go to a road course, then we go to Pocono. Is the strategy still try to get that first win, try to lock yourself into the round of 8 on a win, or is it just rack up points and see what you can do with some tracks that maybe, knowing your specialty, knowing what I understand it is, maybe aren't some of your favorites?
Yeah, Dover, that's a crapshoot. Road course, obviously. It's Watkins Glen, so I'm a little bit better at that one. Probably not nearly as good as what Nick's going to be, but to come home with a top 5 of that would be great. And Pocono is one of my favorites too, kind of like New Hampshire. I don't know what it is about these 2 tracks in particular, but I seem to run really well at. So definitely looking forward to it. Definitely gonna just keep on going for the first win. It's crazy. I finished second so many times that it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, just keep plugging away, keep going for the win. If the win's there, I'm going to do whatever I can to take it.
That's what I like to hear. We're going to see it sooner rather than later. It's going to be as awesome as it was to see when Brett finally got it to Chicago. And just, Cody, we're pulling for you, truly. That was an incredible drive. Everybody in the chat's agreeing. And I just keep your head up, man. I know you'll figure it out going forward. Put in the practice, and it'll pay off for you. So, well, you got plenty of people in the chat that always support you there. So, in terms of shout outs, I think but yeah, shout outs, any sponsors you got there, you know what to do here. You've been here plenty of times. Now's your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everyone who watches, everyone participates in the chat and the broadcast. Thank you guys for putting the broadcast on. You guys do a great job. Everybody, all the drivers, all the admins, Bill and Matt, for putting on this league. Love it, absolutely love it. And definitely want to thank all the veterans out there who continue to fight for our freedom and keep us all safe. So appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for putting on another great show for us. We enjoyed it so much, and certainly the highlight of this broadcast and many others this season. So, as always, on behalf of myself and the chat, we wish you the best of luck going forward, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, man.
And there you go. Just like that, Cody Welch, yet again. I don't even know what to say at this point. Just... yeah, second again, 4th of the season. It's got to be the most of any driver. I don't know what he needs to do. I think that last call there was somewhat risky, certainly. Pitting that late in the race for tires. I think had he not, he had a shot to go for the win there. I think he may have outpaced Nick. New tires are not there. But it's tough, man. It's tough. It'll happen. It's coming to him. But wow. Yet again, man. I feel like a broken record at this point, interviewing these people in this order. Brandon Jackson finishing in 3rd, who we'll talk to in just a moment. But Yeah, well, it's very clear who the guys at the top of the pecking order are, but I feel like we'd have more guys in that tier if these races would just go a little bit differently. So next week at Dover, we know Brandon thinks he's going to be quick. We know Ricky thinks he's going to be quick, and well, we'll see what goes on. But finishing third tonight here at New Hampshire, started in the 33rd position. So that says all you need to know about the kind of race he had. Brandon Jackson, we talked to him earlier. Let's get him in the booth, and we'll see if we can get him on Skype, because he is, I believe, still on Skype. So let's just grab him very quickly. Apologies that the ticker is going to say Fan Appreciation 85 is resulting of, again, that earlier reset with iRacing and all of its bugs. Unfortunately, it is still now going to be updated with last week's graphics, but we'll do what we can do. We're almost through to the end, so let's get Brandon Jackson in the booth, and we'll do your interview here. Just a moment. We're almost good to go here. There we go. He's partying out. Oh, this is exciting. Here we go. The man himself having a dance party in the Sith robes we saw him wearing before. Here he is, Brandon Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only. He's Action Jackson for a reason. Here he is. Brandon, it is Marshall up in the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, how's it going?
How is it going? You are jamming out there looking like a Sith Lord. I mentioned it earlier in the race, loving the outfit. But Brandon, is this the second week in a row you've lied to me about a track, my man? Podium again, and it was not easy. You had to prove that you had pace overall. It was one of those races, New Hampshire. I thought it was, I know we had 14 cautions last year. I thought it was going to be a little bit safer. It was not, but you still persevere through to the end. Just what changed? What was different than you were expecting pre-race that you were dreading?
I still hate this track. I hope this track is like exiled out of existence. But man, I just had a lot more pace than I thought I had. All honesty, I came into this race expecting to run like 15th. I mean, I hate this track with everything. Like, if I could drop a bomb on it, I would. Personally, I would do it. But yeah, I just had pace, man. A lot more than I honestly thought I would. And then I guess the way my strategy was playing out, it just worked out in the end. It's really all I got. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, again, thinking about kind of a storyline we've talked about a lot, particularly at the short tracks, knowing that tonight was going to be a pretty caution-filled event, which I'm sure you picked up on pretty early. What were you, how are you changing your strategy based on earlier this season? Were you thinking about the strategy that Ashley had? I know you two kind of talk in the chat together throughout the race, so I know she went for the long play. You pitted earlier. Do you think in the end that was the right choice?
Yeah, I kind of felt the way how Phoenix was going to go. Figured if you pit with like 25 laps left, give or take, is probably the money stop. Track position was very key. It is very difficult to pass somebody if you're on even tires. You almost just kind of throw the truck in there and God hope it sticks. It was very difficult to pass, like I said. Just old tires, and then once strategies came in, it was all about how late do you want to pit with giving up that much track position. And I kind of had my mindset around like 25, 30 laps left will be the last of my pit. Apparently, it still wasn't enough. Cody came by and blew my doors off with like 2 laps to go. So I still don't know. Well, I don't know. I hate this track. I don't know if I said that, but it's a weird race to run. You have to run this race thinking, what is the latest I can pit without giving up time, but still having enough pace in the tires that I can run up front. It's the hardest thing to balance out, but yes, I did it right. Played the game right. I still don't have anything for Nick, though. That man's I hate this track, and he just got one up on me, but I'm going to get him next week.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. So, Brandon, you talked about it. You and Ricky have been hyping it up all season. Dover's the one. Dover's the track. Dover's the track to save us all. And we go there next week. It's very similar to New Hampshire in terms of length. And, oh, boy, I'm hoping people practice up for that one. But, like Dover, man, what is it you like about it? And are we seeing Brandon Jackson back in the top step of the podium for the first time since Miami next week?
Man, I hope so. I love Dover. Dover's a great racetrack. Honestly, it's a lot better than New Hampshire. So I love that racetrack. I love that place. It's better than this place. But This track sucks. But yeah, no, I've been wanting Dover for the longest, and now I finally get my chance. So hopefully I can make a lot of it and get a good run. As of the way my last couple months have been, this is like the skies clearing after a tornado. I've just finally was able to get a good run in. I had to start dead last.
Yeah.
And found my way up into the top 5. And I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe some of y'all should have put me in your brackets in the final 4. Yeah.
Hey, this brings me to my final question. You're segueing perfectly tonight, Brandon. Look at you. I was gonna say, first of all, I think it's a good luck charm. So just never put the green tag on your back bumper. But the other thing is, I put you in my bracket, and I took some flack for it, particularly from Ricky Hart Jr., who should have been in my final 4. Especially he proved it tonight. He was great. But Brandon, I put you in my final 4, and last week you were pretty down. You were saying, no, don't do that. That's the bad call. Brandon, was I smart to put you in my final 4 in my bracket?
Man, I hope so. Maybe got some like good juju coming my way. I don't know. A lot of these tracks, man, I'm a lot happy to see them on this part of the schedule. It's going to be a lot more mile and a halves and more just trying to race the truck rather than drive the truck flat out, see where she goes. So a lot more talent is going to be coming involved here over the next couple of weekends, or not weekends, but races. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to getting some more wins. I only have 1 to my name this season, so I need to change that. But yeah, I can't wait. Oh man, this felt great after having a horrible last 2 months.
Yeah, it's great to see you turn it around, man. I've often said before, but you're objectively one of the most raw talented guys in the series. You just gotta get in the groove. You gotta get some tracks that know suit you, or apparently tracks that don't, because that seems to be your new specialty. But I want to shout out my boy Evan Wall Media in the chat. You may have heard of him. He's unfortunately not able to make it tonight, but he did put a comment in the chat that says, quote, "If Brandon loves it, he's gonna suck next week." And I think there were no more poignant words ever spoken than that. So try to fight against that stereotype, Brandon. But again, if we're not talking to you again next week, we will be playing that as the new storyline. But for the time being, Brandon, you've been here before. It's like your 5th or 6th podium of the season. To do shout outs, anybody, if you want to mention, Military Appreciation Night, if you got some sponsors, whatever you'd like to talk about.
Gonna go ahead and shout out the Marines. My father was one in the Persian Gulf War. So shout out to everybody, especially that are serving right now and have served. Those who will serve, I hope the very best for y'all. Just got to protect all of our military. Everybody does their part, but effort to clean everything up. But at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. We're all here to race. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to put on the show. I'm here to put on the show. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm always here to put on the show. So when in doubt, just put Brandon in the race and see what happens. Something will happen. So other than that, I'd like to thank Mr. Evan Wall Media. He makes great paint schemes. Evan, I'm looking at you with a sore eye right now, but he makes great paint schemes. It does a lot of graphic design. So if y'all need something, give him a holla. And other than that, man, y'all know the deal. I'm going to shout out good old Back to Blue, man. Got to support our officers out there, men and women, doing their duty. So other than that, man, I'll see all you beautiful people in the Infield Care Center of next week at Dover.
Yeah, that's what I love about you, Brandon. I like the way you put it. If you're in a race, it's going to be entertaining. You're like a plug-and-play driver. You make our broadcast interesting no matter where you are. And, truly, it's the Infield Care Center or it's the podium for you. And honestly, I think with our playoff format, that might not be a bad thing. So best of luck, Brandon. Prove me right. And see what you can do next week at Dover. And again, no pressure, but if things don't go stupendously well, you will be chastised forever. So there you go.
Yeah, it's happened before. It'll happen again. Toodles!
Toodles. Thanks, Brandon. Okay, so just want to give a little bit more context into the background of the broadcast. I currently do not have a taskbar. A lot of things have just crashed on me. I totally lost connection there for a moment during the broadcast. Tonight has just been an unlucky night. So, generally speaking, your top 3 here to round it off at New Hampshire. Number 1, Nick Nickerson, 7th win of the season. Cody Welch with his 4th runner-up finish of the year. Here you go. Brandon Jackson finishing 3rd tonight at New Hampshire. And we are somewhat limited in what we can go over. But what I will say before we head off is, well, currently everything is crashing in front of me. Military Appreciation Night. Again, thank you to really to anybody. You know, we're specifically thinking in reference to America because it's an American series, majority American driver lineup. So to the American military, who again, one of the world's most impactful, does great work and super impactful, and super just like insanely courageous work. You know what the military does, but worldwide, more than just within North America, more than just within the American border. Truly all over the globe. So we thank them. Joshua McQuiggan, making sure to shout out the Snowbirds from a Canadian perspective. We thank him as well. And yeah, on behalf of myself, and I'm sure everybody else in the chat and everybody in the driver lineup, we all agree that the military is extremely important. If you again, we've done a lot of causes this season, so really important ones. And so I know it's been a tough year with COVID the last 2 years. So. I would never ask anybody to donate if they didn't have it within their means. But if you feel like it, you can go down to the description below. I've included a couple of charities for both Canada and the United States. If you want to donate, you know where to do it. There's plenty of different causes, even some that will run on trucks tonight. But if you want to know a place to start, provided some links there in the description. But it's been quite a race tonight, folks. I thank you guys for sticking with us. I really wish things had gone a little bit more smoothly tonight. Again, everything is looking a little bit rough. Everything is a little bit glitchy, but all I can tell you is tonight was a fun race from my perspective there by the end, and we had some great battles for the win. Here is the schedule for the next couple weeks going forward. Without much further ado, we are going to head off because, well, before long, something else is going to fall apart. So thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, Evan will be back. We'll get things fixed up, figured out what was going wrong tonight, and we'll be back at Dover for what should be a great race at the Monster Mile. But until then, have a great rest of your week, everybody. And we will see you before too long for the second round of the 9th season of the Bandit Racing League playoffs, the 16th round overall. We'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you very much.